Why, hello, people of the internet. It's your boy, the classiest tomato in the game, and
Mars bars or Marley, if you want to call
the
me that.
Mars bars in the game. And welcome back to the Galactic Airverse Hub. So
You mean
we've
the Martian too? That's our Instagram account. Yes. By the way, you can check out our Instagram account, which is Galactic Arrow Sub. There'll be a link in the description below. But yes, we are
yep,
the Martian Tomato Podcast.
yep,
I mean, they're basically the same. You can like kind of mistake. Like, yeah. I mean, honestly, it's easy for you to mistake the
fair
podcast
enough. Yeah,
because
I totally forgot what our
we have the
podcast is
same thing.
called.
Yeah. Well, I did have some ideas of actually kind of diverting the podcast to talk a little bit like more things outside of the Galactic Overs Hub, but I don't know. That'll just be later on down the future. But yeah, make sure you go check out our account there. And yeah, so speaking of, to anyone who does follow our Instagram account, I think you guys would notice why I haven't put up my Supergirl review yet. That doesn't mean I'm not going to put it up at all. No, don't guys, don't worry. I will still put up a Supergirl review, but once we get to that segment in this episode, I'll kind of explain why because it's a bit interesting. But yeah, before we get into that, let's get into some of the other shows from what was it, the past 2 weeks now?
Yeah, past 2 weeks.
Yeah, so Batwoman. I mean, just starting off with Batwoman, I actually really like what's going on with the show. I think,
Oh, this show has been phenomenal.
yeah, I think I love the twists and turns that series has taken. So on the last 2 weeks too,
hmm
and like I think like that. Honestly, like that one episode where they're all in Koreana and all that.
Yeah. Oh,
Like I honestly thought that was going to be the mid-season finale, and then like we'd start up with like the Black Mass stuff. But no, it turns out the Black Mass, like Black Mass, the introduction, stuff like that. That's the mid-season finale. So yes, you guys
mhm.
are wondering, we are recording this on April 4th, which by the way, happy Easter to you guys all.
Happy Easter.
Yeah, and there won't be any Batwoman for this week. There will be Supergirl and Flash, but Black
Yeah.
Light, I guess Black Lightning and Batwoman returning next week. So because I think it's because we just had the mid-season finale last week, so they're kind of taking a little bit of a break, which doesn't really make any sense. Like
Yep.
usually
No.
they take like a really long break, like a month-long break, but I mean we already have like another show on break right now, which is Superman and Lois. That's on like a 2 month hiatus.
Yep.
So I don't know if it would be wise for the CW to put another show on break for another month, even though that's what they usually do after the mid-season finale. But yeah,
Yeah.
like I wasn't really expecting much out of last week's episode with Black Mask. I mean, obviously we're being introduced to Black Mask, so that's something big.
Yeah, I was kind of confused on this episode because I believe in the episode before this, she was dying, wasn't she? And then all of a sudden, the next episode, she's fine.
Yeah, that's the one thing I didn't like is that how all of a sudden she's like completely fine. I mean, what I would have preferred is that in like at the start of last week's episode, we have her, I guess, on like a surgery table or something like that. We kind of figure out
Yeah.
what's going on with the kryptonite because you remember like she was having like hallucinations with the kryptonite, right? With her wound
Yes, correct.
messing with her. It's like
Yeah.
material from another world. Obviously, it's not gonna like. Well, I mean, if you apply it to the human anatomy, it's gonna react differently, right? So it's like I
hmm
wanted to see how that concluded, but instead they just like, oh, well, she's fine now. They did briefly explain that like her plant was secretly Desert Rose, which I get.
Yeah.
But well, she got it from Angelique, which Angelique got from Ocean. So I guess that's different.
hmm
But yeah, I didn't like how they kind of resolved that, but that's probably the worst part of the episode. Everything
hmm
is pretty good. I love how cutthroat Black Mask is, and
hmm
the False Face Society. That's his game.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
very coordinate. I like these are actual villains that I am like genuinely terrified about. Like, and it's rare because a lot of gangs or henchmen, like villain henchmen like that, they're never really intimidating. Like, look at like even like when I look at like something like say like the Galactic Empire in Star Wars, I don't find them intimidating at all. Like the stormtroopers, they're extremely incompetent. So, like, which all makes the hero good, but then like the bad guys look terrible, right? But it's like
yeah.
this year, like so far, I know only in like one episode, but like so far in the show, all three society seems to be like they're on top of their game, right? Like they will hunt down anyone who so much as knows their existence and all that stuff. Like,
Yeah.
oh, that's actually really interesting. Really like how
Yeah, for sure.
so far.
Yeah, I've been thinking Batwoman has been doing phenomenal. I think it's way better than the first season. And like just with every character kind of growing, if that makes sense, because in the latest episode we got to meet what's her face's sister,
Yeah, Sophie's sister.
Sophie's sister, which I thought was kind of cool. So I feel like maybe possibly Sophie will probably, I don't know, maybe know that what's her face is Ryan is Batwoman first, which I think would be kind of funny.
I
Maybe in the
don't know if they're
future.
gonna go that route. I don't know if it's wise to go that route because I honestly really like how Team Batwoman's going right now with with just
Mm-hmm.
three people. I really don't think it should be like Team Arrow or Team Flash where it's just overcrowded with people and like more and more people know about who Batwoman is. I kind of prefer it to just stay with just three people. Obviously, you're gonna have to introduce more people into the sphere of influence with, Batwoman's sphere of influence. But like at the same time, it's like don't make the same mistakes that Arrow and Flash did. Not that like Arrow, like in terms of
Mm-hmm.
like Team Arrow, it's fine because each character was like really different from one another. Like you had the tech savvy guys, which was like Felicity and what was his name, Curtis, right? Well,
Yeah,
Mr. Terrific,
Curtis.
but like he was a natural
Mm-hmm.
vigilante. And then you obviously have Oliver and stuff like that. But it's like when you look at like Team Flash, for example, you have like a lot of people who are essentially the same character. So it's like I kind of don't want Batwoman to go that route. I just want it to be just three people on the Bat team, and that's it.
Yeah, I get that, but I feel like with three is enough. But I feel like their verse shows they never have just three people on their team.
Yeah, yeah,
Eventually, a lot of people will get into this team and whatnot. But yeah, there's real no complaints with besides like the fact that she just comes back and she's like writing a note and she's fine. Like
yeah. Like I
besides
was
that,
curious.
it's
I
been
want to
phenomenal.
see what like. It was kind of disappointing. It's like, okay, what happened to like the wound? Is it just all healed now? Like, how does that work?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like I was just so confused, like how we just totally skipped that part. Like to show us like her on the table and then this getting injected with like the flour or whatever.
Yeah, and we actually never
But
really found out how the flower works. We like
mm-hmm.
that's the one thing another minor gripe I have with the show is that like we've heard a lot about the desert rose and how I guess kind of like I guess how invaluable it is, but we never actually see it in action. We just hear, oh, so you just apply the desert rose on here and then they're fine. But we never actually see it in
Mm-hmm.
action, right? Like, what do they do? Like, do they extract some part of the plant and use it as like kind of like obviously like a medicine or something like that? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm really curious to see what they're going to do with Alice because her storyline is like she's kind of going crazy again a
Yeah,
little bit.
and she's like all alone. She doesn't really have her gang, and even if she did have her gang, she would definitely be like I guess overrun by Black Mask's gang and all that stuff. And again, I really like what they're doing with Black Mask right now, and having
Yeah, I know
him
I
be
am
so
too.
cutthroat and stuff like that. The one thing I don't like is just his
Mm-hmm.
mask. I feel like his mask just is just made out of plastic. I kind of wish he had like that similar look in like Birds of Prey or stuff like that. Because like, yeah, that
Yeah.
mask looks pretty cool. But yeah, that's really the only complaint I have. But yeah, I'm pretty sure like from what it seems like, like Black Mask is going to be like a major villain. I don't know what they're going to do with Sophia. I don't know if they're going to bring her back later this season
Yeah.
or the season. Hopefully they do, because what
Mm-hmm.
I was predicting is that Black Mask shows up this season and becomes like
Mm-hmm.
a major villain, but not like too big of a villain. Like I was kind of expecting them to kind of set him up and then maybe carry that storyline on next season. So it'd probably be like a conclusion in a way, but and I don't know. Like
Yeah.
I don't know because I really don't think that they're gonna keep Sophia just on the back burner for a really long time. I feel like they're gonna bring her back, especially with what happened in the end of the second last episode. It's like, yeah, she's
Yeah.
definitely coming back. There's definitely big plans for her, especially since she revived Ocean or not revived Ocean, but like she like brought Ocean back to the island. It's like she's gonna have some work to do, right?
Yeah, I'm very curious to see what they're going to do with that. And obviously, at the latest episode, we find out that Kate is still
Yeah,
alive,
still
but
alive.
she doesn't have a face,
Actually,
sort of
I
thing.
like this idea of her being kind of like disfigured, like physically disfigured to the point where she's unrecognizable.
Hmm.
That's honestly a good way to deal with a recast rather than just like out of nowhere. It's like, hey guys, I'm Kate Kane again, like stuff like that. Because that's how
Yeah.
recasts usually go. Usually, like they recast someone, but it's like no one really bats an eye that they look different. Now that's actually being put into effect. Like if Kate Kane came back looking someone not like Ruby Rose, it'd be like, whoa, you look different. You're not Kate Kane. It's like exactly right. So
Hmm.
I'm kind of glad that what they're doing and like with her kind of being disfigured from the crash as well as I guess being hunted down by Black Mask's men. It's like
Yeah.
yeah, like combination of that. Yeah, she definitely would look disfigured. She definitely would have some like body parts dismembered or something like that. So it's like yeah, I'm glad that she's going through basically surgery with their face to make her look more like Wallace Day. So
Yeah, which I'm curious to see what they're going to do because I'm pretty sure the person working with Black Mask, I don't know if she's like a witch or something.
she seems to be a
That's
like a
like,
mixture of a witch and a doctor.
yeah, because I feel like she's gonna. I don't know if Kate remembers anything at this point because all we saw was her laying on the ground. Like, is she gonna remember who she is? Is she gonna
I have a
have
feeling what they're
amnesia
gonna do
or?
with Kate is that they're gonna bring her back, but she's gonna have a different identity, and then
Hmm.
like maybe throughout, I guess, what do you call it? Like maybe throughout like her like the screen time that she has this season, she's gonna eventually like kind of start to remember who she was. Like maybe
Yeah.
maybe if she runs into Batwoman or if she runs into Luke or Mary or something like that, or maybe even Jacob, she like kind of has like these kind of like flashbacks in her head, like and it's like flashing back to season one and stuff like that. It's like, hey, I'm not this person, like this fake person. I'm Kate Kane. I was Batwoman, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, like
Yeah.
I think it was revealed by the showrunners. I think I can't remember who, but it was revealed with the announcement of Wallace Day being the new Kate Kane. It was announced that it would solidify Ryan's place as Batwoman. So she wouldn't be giving up the mantle anytime soon. She would still be Batwoman. But I honestly
Yeah.
don't want Kate Kane to leave. I know it'll be weird because you're gonna have two main characters, but what I would have preferred is that Ryan kind of like goes through like this arc where Kate shows up, and then everyone knows it's Kate. Like like Team Batwoman knows it's Kate, but then they go through kind of like this arc where it's like Ryan has kind of been like she's more, I guess, not really worthy. I don't know what the word is, but it's kind of worthy of the Batwoman mantle to the point where like maybe there's like this scene where maybe Ryan and Kate are together. I mean, like Kate's like, "Hey, you definitely were a better Batwoman than I could ever be," and stuff like that. Maybe like like a character arc, something like that, or a storyline, something like that. I would like to see something like that, but I just don't want to see her like Kate Kane show up and then just leave, like and just never return. Like I kind of want her to stay on the show.
Yeah. Well, I think they might. Black Mask might make her one of the main goons. Is like one of his
Yeah,
main
that's what I'm
goons,
thinking.
maybe.
Because like he has her captive, like he can kind of use Kate Kane against them, so like that against Batwoman and
Yeah.
all that stuff. So I definitely do
Yeah.
think that she's gonna be like a henchman or henchwoman in this case. But yeah,
Yeah, and maybe Batwoman and them face off and whatever. But yeah, I'm really curious to see where this show goes. Like, I don't know how many more episodes until the end of the season, but I don't know if it's getting close or not. I
Well,
don't
it
think it
seems that
is.
all those episodes for like were I guess all the seasons for this year tend to have short. They have shorter seasons. Like I know the Flash has like 17, 18 episodes. And the reason why I know about that is
Yeah.
because the seventh. Well, we'll get to that later with some news.
Hmm.
Well, actually, that's going to be our next segment. But
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
know the Flash has like 18 episodes. I assume Batwoman might be the same. I don't. I really do
Yeah.
not see any show this season, or for DC show at least, having more than 20 episodes, or even 16 or not 16, but
Yeah. For
at least
sure.
18, because obviously, like I said, season 7 of The Flash is going to have 18 episodes. So I highly doubt we're going to be getting like a full 23 episode long season, which honestly, I'm glad. even though I don't like code, I don't like this entire situation going on right now. It's obviously restricting all these studios and how they're going about
Mhm.
with their filming and stuff like that and their production. But at the same time, it's kind of a blessing that we're getting less episodes because yeah,
Mhm.
again, main problem. I think I've said this before. I don't know if I said it here or if I said it um, on the Instagram account, but I would prefer the CW had lesser episodes per season. That's just because it's not
Mhm.
enough. Well, it reduces the time, so they don't have to pad out story. They don't need to like stretch it out by like
Yeah.
putting in like pointless filler. Because like as cool as some filler episodes are, like I think like I instantly think back to that second last episode of season 6 of The Flash. Like that was filler, but it
Yeah.
was pretty cool filler. But it's still
Yeah.
filler. I would like to see something like that's actually plays a part in the story, right? Like honestly, like
Yeah.
CW
Exactly.
shows, like the CW shows, they're not on the same level as like One Piece. If you guys have watched that anime is just straight
Mhm.
up filler. Like anyone who's watched that show can tell you that
Mhm.
it's just filler. Like it's straight up filler. So
Yeah.
it's like I know the CW is not on that level yet, but like after last season of The Flash, is like especially like since it had a very interesting story. Like I honestly thought the Mirrorverse story was cool, or it would have been cool if it had more screen time developed into it too. But and then that never
Yeah.
ever happened because it was just a lot of filler. Like at the Valentine's Day episode, which was just awful. It was horrible. But yeah, that just diverted so much like valuable screen time away from the actual plot of the season. So I'm really hoping that Batwoman sticks to like a shorter season format, and I hope the CW shows just move to that format in general, right? Especially since
Yeah.
um apparently, I don't know how true this is, but apparently a lot of the CW shows are trying to make their way onto HBO Max. Like Superman Lois is, trying to make
Mhm.
its way onto HBO Max. Again, I think the CW and HBO are still trying to reach a deal. But yeah, a lot of the
Yeah.
DC shows are trying to, or the current DC shows right now, they're trying to make their way onto HBO Max. Which, if you had like the HBO Max originals, they're shorter seasons. But then you have like these other shows, like the CW shows, which they're trying to push. Like especially Superman Lois, they're trying to push that for HBO Max. Like, hey guys,
Mhm.
look, HBO Max has Superman Lois. It's I was about to say highly anticipated, but no, it's a really good show. Okay, come watch us here. And then you have it.
Yeah.
The show's like 23 episodes long, so it's like. Like
Yeah.
it just wouldn't work. It just doesn't fit within the format. That's the reason why the CW shows are just so out of place when you like because they're on Netflix right now. But when you compare the entire
Yeah.
Netflix catalog, it's like it just doesn't fit. It honestly like really doesn't. Even Titans is still on Netflix, and that like that
Yeah.
show has shorter episodes per season. So it's like I would have preferred if they just gone shorter episodes.
I totally agree with you on the point that I believe they should have less episodes. Maybe not like shorter episodes, like move them from 50 minutes to 40 or whatever one or whatnot. I rather have less
Yeah,
episodes. But I disagree with your point when it comes to the anime talk, uh, because I feel like that's easier to do. Because, for example, the CW shows, they're actually doing their stunts in real life. In the anime stuff,
yeah, but
you kind of.
sorry, go on.
I was just saying it's more like editing and stuff. That's not like
It
them actually
No,
doing
it
the
is,
thing.
but like there are a lot of animes out there that don't have to pad out its story. Like I think to like a lot of other there's this one limited series that I did well not limited series, but I did watch a couple episodes of this. It's called Steins Gate, and it's just
Hmm.
like the story is really good. There's barely any filler in that show at all. And like One Piece is a
Hmm.
really old show, and it's still going on, and there is so much filler. Like it's literally just filler. And that's the problem I have with it. It's just like
Hmm.
there's no real story. Like there's no like plot lines in there. It's just filler. It's like imagine if like the Mandalorian, except without any overarching story, and it just goes on. Like there's no like season 2 or 3 or anything like that. Because I think One Piece is like one like just I think there's like one giant season. I could be wrong about that, but yeah, like literally anyone
Hmm.
you ask, it's just say it. Like anyone you ask that has watched that show, you just be like, yeah, it's just straight up filler. So it's like, and I feel like the CW is kind of going that route too because I don't know why, but they love filler. They love filler episodes so much. I don't really don't know why, but they do, and it's like it's so frustrating too. That's why I'm like a bigger
Hmm.
fan of like limited series and stuff like that because it puts the writers in a time crunch where they have to they have a story. They need to execute a story within a set amount of time, and there's no time to put any little gags or fillers or stuff like that. Like you have to like execute your story well, and you have to do it within this short time frame, or else it's not going to work.
Yeah, yeah, I get that point. I understand. Like, yeah, they like to do their like little mini stories like in the show, and then sometimes like you said, the last season of Flash, it was like they didn't wrap up most of them, like you said. But yeah, I agree with you on the points that you made. Like, I agree. I've enjoyed way more of less episodes of seasons because, for example, like Arrow, when Arrow first begun, how many
It,
episodes were
it
there?
was
I feel like there was
23.
over
A lot
23.
of I think most DC shows follow that format. Well, see from CW at least, it was 23 episodes per. Oh, excuse me, 23 episodes per season. Um,
Yeah, but that's
yeah,
a
well,
lot.
I mean,
That's a
the seasons
lot.
were really good. I think the reason why it was really good because like some of the fillers as well also were like very entertaining. But then you have like some filler, like I said, going back to the Valentine's Day special episode for last season of The Flash. Like, see, yeah, like that was just terrible. It was so boring. It's like I just want to go back to the story. Like I really do. Like if your filler is not
Yeah.
entertaining or it doesn't build on the world of the Arrowverse or whatever universe you're set in, I just want to go back to the story. And if your story's not compelling, well, it's like you're kind of screwed, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you on that point. If you are doing filler, make it
Yeah,
entertaining.
exactly.
Like if the main villain is like, for example, Black Mask and Batwoman, I don't want to see Batwoman going after I don't know, just a criminal dude that's super athletic and
Yeah,
stuff,
exactly.
and then just like has no story to it. He's just chased somebody a whole episode, and then we get like no
Yeah,
flashback
that's
stuff.
another thing. A lot of the CW shows kind of are they're sticking to the whole like villain of the week type of thing, which I was a fan of like during Flash season 1 and Flash season 2, but like it's so monotonous now. It's like I just like can we just have a story from beginning to end without having any like type of like detours along the way. I mean, you can have detours in your story, but not detours to the point where the entire story stops just so we can stop this one prison escapee or something like that. Like
Yeah,
that's just kind of that
exactly.
just
I've
it's
been
just
sick of that.
so because like here's the thing, we wait like 1 week, we wait basically 7 days for a new episode of any of these shows, really. And we're all excited because it's like, man, it's a
Yeah,
new episode of Superman or Supergirl or The Flash or whatever. And then it just turns out to be pointless filler. It's like, well, I just wasted like an hour of my time. Like, it really did.
yeah,
No, I don't think
yeah,
Superman and
exactly.
Lois is
Like,
at fault with that. I think like even with the whole like quote unquote villain of the week that show does, it still does it well because it still like progresses each character. So that's like another thing with filler episodes. At the very least, do something within that episode that benefits either the viewer or the characters or just the story in general, right? Like that's why like
hmm,
Mandalorian gets like
yeah,
that's why so many people who are like big fans of the Mandalorian. Not saying that I'm not a big fan. I do like the Mandalorian. I just think it's not as like not the best Star Wars show out there. But when you look at the Mandalorian, you see a lot of people saying that, oh yeah, it's filler, but it's good filler. It's entertaining. Like seeing Cobb Vanth in the first
yeah,
episode of season 2, that was entertaining. That was awesome. And to any lore experts in Star Wars, they they had like a field day with that because he was from the books, right? Seeing Ahsoka, that was awesome. Even
hmm,
though, like, yeah, a majority of the episode was just them trying to take down like this like corrupt like governor or something like that. It was still fun to see like a live action Ahsoka, and eventually, yeah, we did learn that okay along the way she's not the Jedi to help train Grogu, so she's gonna send them to another planet. It's like okay, that progresses the story, even though like I'm not a huge fan of that type of story progression. It's still story progression, right? But with like this, with a
yeah,
lot of the CW
exactly.
shows, it's like okay, let's like complete stop on the story, complete stop on character progression. Let's just put like a villain, like a goofy villain of the week, and then we'll just put it out there. Doesn't build on the world of the Arrowverse. It doesn't progress any of the characters. Doesn't progress the story. Just put one out there just so that we can fill our quota of good guy punching bad guy.
Yeah, exactly. But it will always be like that. I think for a little bit they have been getting better on that point, but like it is annoying. But on the other hand, if you were the director, do you want to just do the whole season based on this one guy?
Yeah, I know that also get annoying too. I think that's why like shows like shows like Black Lightning or Superman Lois are good because it focuses on other characters, but they're also integral to the plot too. It's not like the Flash where it's overcrowded with characters, and yeah, they have character arcs, sure, but what does it benefit to the main plot of the story or the main plot of the season? Excuse me. So it's like with Chester. Yeah, I know Chester's a new member of Team Flash, and I would like to see more of his character, but it's like, what does he benefit to the story of the season? And if it's nothing, it's like, well, I mean, I guess they're probably going to set him up for another season. Like maybe he's going to play like a big role next season. Okay, that's fine. It's like with Cisco's character. Cisco in seasons 1 and 2, he had like these strange type of dreams, right? Like he was dreaming about like alternate timelines and stuff like that and all that stuff. Turns out he can vibe. Hence why he becomes the vibe, like the vibe metahuman and stuff like that, right? So it's like, like at least have a payoff. But like honestly, like it's so frustrating that like that some of these characters don't have any payoff at all, right?
Exactly. Like I think Cisco needs to go at this point. I don't know how they can do to write him off. You could just say I'm done and make him leave with his girlfriend, or I don't know. Like I don't know how they're gonna deal with it. I really don't.
Well, on that note, we went on a bit of a tangent there, but yeah, since we're talking about Cisco and the Flash, I guess we could talk about move into our next segment, which is the Flash. The second last episode was the one. I think it was episode 4. It was like the episode right after I guess the Mirror Monarch story or storyline or whatever. Whenever that wrapped up, it was like with Abracadabra. I think like. Yeah, it was boring. I mean, I did like Abracadabra's character. I think they added a lot more depth to his character, but it's like I think it's too late to have a redemption arc because the last time we saw him was in season 3. Yeah, so it's like
3. Yeah,
it's really weird to just shoehorn in a redemption arc out of nowhere, but I guess he was fine. I mean, kind of played with our emotions a little bit there, but yeah, that episode was really boring.
Yeah, very. Like, I've been super I've been super disappointed in the Flash.
Yeah, I think last episode though, one with Psych.
The last episode was good.
It's not just because we saw Savitar and Thawne again. No, it legit was good, and
yeah.
Some might say this is filler. I'd say it's half filler, half story building because obviously at the end of the Mirror Monarch storyline, we kind of learned that there are other forces out there. Like, well, I mean, we're essentially going to be played on the DC Comics version of like a kind of the Still Force, the Strength Force, the Sage Force, which is what Psyche's powers were, and then obviously we have the Speed Force. So it seems like we're going to be getting a more, I guess, on the mythology of these like powers and stuff like that, and these abilities. And especially since the physical embodiment of the Speed Force is, in the like real world plane, it'd be really interesting to see how that goes.
Yeah, like I'm saying, I'm actually liking Iris this season because it's starting to look like she's more focused on her job now, which I hope this is true. She starts focusing on a job and not part of Team Flash. Like, she can be a part of Team Flash, like show up every once in a while, but I like it better when like those type of characters like actually do their job.
And well, the best way I can explain it, it's like because like she's a reporter, right? So we can easily make comparisons to Lois Lane, right? But like look back, I guess when it was just Arrow or Flash. The CW
Hmm.
didn't have any rights to Superman or Batman or stuff like that. So what do? They have to use alternatives. So they turn to Arrow. Arrow is technically the Batman of the Arrowverse. Even though Batman does exist, even though Bruce Wayne does exist, we can say with a high degree
Hmm.
of confidence and certainty that Oliver Queen in the Arrowverse, he is the Batman of that universe because he really is the Batman
Yeah.
type of role,
Yeah, he
right?
is.
And then you could say that the Flash
Yeah.
was essentially the Superman of that universe too. Although Flash and Arrow obviously they got along really well, right? Unlike Batman and Superman, but
Yeah.
if we're going by that, then essentially Iris is the Lois Lane of the Arrowverse. Well, if we're going back then, because she was still a reporter back
Hmm.
in like seasons 1 and 2 of The Flash, so we could have made the
Yeah.
comparison that she is the
Hmm.
Lois Lane of that universe. So it's like, why can't they just go all in on that instead
Yeah.
of having her be essentially de facto team leader of Team Flash and stuff like that? It's like,
Yeah.
why do they need to like? Because it's weird because like they're kind of juggling between her being an integral key of Team Flash and her being a reporter. I know like that's not necessarily what they're like what the CW is doing with Lois's character in Superman and Lois. I really like what they're doing there. She's actually like a reporter and she has like her own type of plot line, which is the Morgan Edge stuff. Which Superman just get involved a bit.
Hmm.
Her husband does get involved a bit in that. But it's like she's still a reporter.
Yeah.
She's not trying to be Superman or Supergirl or anything like that. And it's like with Iris, she's
Yeah.
like they're trying to make her so hard to be like I understand that she's married to Barry, but like at the same time they're trying to be like, oh
Hmm.
yeah, she's literally a part of like the Flash, and it's like then that's not really the case, right? Even though she did have speedster powers, that doesn't mean that she's like because the whole like one thing in season 4 where she was like, oh yeah, we are the Flash. It's like no, you're not.
Yeah.
They're like
No.
Lois doesn't say
I.
we are Superman or stuff like that. Like you don't hear her saying that, and you definitely there's no storyline building on that at all.
Yeah. I get it. Iris is one of the main factors when it comes to Barry, because pretty much how many seasons have there been of trying to
Or
save her from
having
something?
her like be part of Barry's life. Yeah, I know it's big. Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, I know. I get that, but that's why I like Lois Lane so much more. Is because she doesn't really give two cares about
Yeah, she's
Superman
not
and
trying
what he's
to.
doing. Like you don't see her on comms telling him
Yeah,
what to do. No, like we just need to understand that when it comes to T Flash, they need the smart guys like Cisco.
Caitlin.
What's her name? Why am I freaking having a blank? Caitlin and them do
Yeah,
their
it's not
job
like
and
with
whatnot.
Felicity
So,
and Arrow where she was essentially brought into the team. Like because like she was kind of used as like an information like or like a source of information for Oliver at the time when he was the Hood, right? And then like he kind of forced her into that
mm,
lifestyle because and eventually she became an integral part of Team Arrow because she is essentially the Oracle of that universe, right? They don't use Oracle anymore. They call
yeah,
her Overwatch, I
exactly.
think. But like yeah, she is essentially the
Yeah,
Oracle of the Arrowverse, right? So it's like that's
yeah,
good. I like that, even though I'm not a huge fan of Felicity's character after season 2. But like, yeah, that's good. Why can't we have Iris be like the Lois Lane of the Arrowverse? Even though yes, Lois Lane exists, and yeah, we do literally have a show called Superman and Lois, when she's one of the main characters. It's still it's like
hmm
why can't we just have her be a Lois Lane type of character instead of hey, let me be essentially de facto Flash.
yeah, exactly. And I'm also curious what they're going to see do with Caitlin's character now that her and Frost are now
Yeah, that's
separated.
pretty. No, I actually really like their
So
scenes together. Which is weird because it's essentially the same actress, but it's like I really like the scenes they have with together. Like I really do.
and I really like the ending of the latest episode of The Flash. That I don't know if she's authority or whatnot chick that Iris said she wasn't or whatever. That they're actually looking for
Oh
Killer
yeah,
Frost now, which I
yeah, that's
think is
quite
kind of
interesting.
funny.
It's weird
Yeah,
that
so I'm
it's
curious.
only now that they're trying to like the authorities are trying to find Killer
Yeah,
Frost, even though she was like a villain. Like well, last time she was a villain was in season 3.
yeah, that was my point. And then obviously in her nightmare dreams,
Yeah,
Caitlyn snitches on her or whatnot. So maybe that
I
can come
guess.
true. I
Yeah.
don't
Also,
know if
it's really weird that it's only
maybe it
now
could
they're trying to get
possibly.
like get her arrested when like she's literally been in public numerous times saving people, and it's like, did no one care back then? Like it really does seem like the writers
Yeah,
are out of
exactly. That
ideas.
was
So okay, let's just throw this in here too. Like, yeah, honestly, like
yeah.
this is kind of a sign the Flash needs to end.
Yeah, I think it needs to. I always thought before this that if the Flash ends, then maybe the
Well,
CW
it's
won't go
still
on
gonna
as
have
much longer.
an
But
8th season,
yeah,
and so it's like, will that be the last,
mhm.
or will there be more? Because what else can they do? They're starting to run out of villains. They're starting to run
Yeah,
out
I
of
don't
like
know.
plot lines to come up with and stuff like that. It's like you can really tell they're like the Flash is on life support. Even though, okay, here's the thing. No, no. To be fair, this
Yeah, like
does get
it's
more viewers than both Black Lightning and Batwoman, right? But like, still, that doesn't really
yeah,
say much. It's not like with Superman Lois, where that's a fresh show, and yeah, it's getting
yeah,
like 1 million viewers per episode.
yeah, exactly. And I'm just curious. Like, is that
Of
big
course,
dude the
I
main
feel like
villain
there's gonna
this
be
season?
multiple main
Like,
villains because like they're moving in.
yeah, like, or is Godspeed next
I don't
season?
know.
Like, I'm very
They've been
curious.
hinting at Godspeed for a really long time, and we still have got essentially nothing on this character.
Yeah, nothing at
They
all.
teased us. They teased us last
Like,
season. Well, we had his introduction in season 5, and then they teased us in season 6
mhm.
with both the first episode and then the second last episode, and now we don't know if he's ever going to make a return ever.
Yeah, and then obviously closer to the end of the latest episode, Barry has to go in
or
a coma. I forget for the
um,
reason he has to get into a coma.
yeah, I mean that
Forget
was
the
a bit
reason
weird
on that.
too, but
Yeah, but I think isn't Nora in
well,
Barry's
yeah,
mom's
it's
body?
the physical embodiment of the Speed Force. Like whenever like Barry was talking to the Speed Force, it always take the form of Nora Allen because I guess it was the closest to Barry, right?
Yeah.
So I guess now that she's in like the real world, it's
Hmm.
like that's kind of the form that she's took. And she did say that she was attacked by Fuerza Psych and I guess one other person, or I guess what I assume is the Strength Force, the Still Force, and the Sage Force. So I guess the other forces are at war.
Yeah.
I guess at war with one another too. So it's like, yeah, I'm really interested or really interested to see where that's going. Maybe like if we get another speedster. Actually, speaking of,
Yeah.
they did cast. The Flash did cast. His name is Jordan Fisher, something like that, as Bart Allen. So that's gonna be
Hmm.
really interesting.
Yeah. I'm really
Yeah,
curious to see where that goes. I'm
yeah.
really
I
curious.
mean, does that cement the fact that Nora's around? Because there's conflicting reports saying that he's the son of Barry, and then there's other reports saying that he's the grandson. I think they meant to say that he is the grandson of Barry, because in the comics he is the grandson of Barry Allen. So does that confirm the existence
Yeah.
that Nora is still alive? Nora West Allen, is she still alive? Is she ever going to make a return to the show? And stuff like that.
I mean, it would be
Yeah,
cool and whatnot. It would be cool, but I feel like if she does come back, like I don't know how it's gonna go
yeah,
because she needs to be
exactly.
born.
But yeah, I'm
So,
curious to see how this goes.
so,
I really don't want them
so
to
I'm
like
just so
rehash Nora's story
yeah,
or just have like a like just Nora 2.0. I want them to
yeah,
do something different with this one. Really do.
yeah. And I don't want to see Nora's or the Flash's daughter and Oliver's daughter to be best friends. That's not happening anymore. They canceled the
Yeah.
Canary show or whatnot. So
Or if
no,
we can get them to join Legends of
but
Tomorrow, that'd be pretty cool too. Like, see, okay, so the actor for Connor
yeah, I guess
Hawk
we'll see.
did say that if Green Arrow and the Canaries never worked out, he would consider joining Legends of Tomorrow.
Okay, but here's the thing with that. If adding people to Legends of Tomorrow.
But
You
like,
need to kick
okay,
people
but
out.
who are they? Like, they. It does seem like that. There are some characters that are willing to go. Like, honestly, I feel like Astra and John Constantine's character are like, well, actually, yeah, because they're
Done.
not. I'm pretty sure the show's not going to be focusing on magic anymore. After was it like 3 seasons worth? Was like yeah, 3 seasons worth of magic stuff, and now like they're gonna yeah, or like
It's
actually going back
alien
to sci-fi,
stuff.
which hopefully they actually do time travel stuff again. But it's like, yeah, I would like to see Connor Hawk.
Yeah.
I like Connor Hawk. I like Connor Hawk's character. I would like to see him in
hmm
Legends. I don't know how that would work, but it would be pretty cool.
Yeah, but if they they have to finish off the Canary story. I feel like because we got like one episode and it teased it where her brother got
Yeah,
captured because they thought he was the Green
I feel like
Arrow.
what they're gonna do is
I feel like they have to just do like a quick series with like
yeah,
13
I feel like what
episodes
they're
or
gonna
12
do is
episodes or
they're
something.
just gonna wrap that up in a comic. Because like obviously there's nothing's gonna get picked up.
Yeah,
Like that's not gonna
probably.
get picked up anytime soon. It really isn't, which is unfortunate. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, big news with Bart Allen. I guess we can go back to that. What do you think his role will be like in the
hmm
Flash?
I'm assuming when he comes, he's going to be alongside Barry. I'm assuming if I had to guess, is take on either the big dude or take on like all
Well,
the other
he was.
elements.
Well, it's confirmed
Or
he's gonna show
maybe
up in the second
Godspeed.
last episode. So like, do you think like
Oh,
yeah,
then he's
if
facing
Godspeed shows
Godspeed.
up?
Then I think. Yeah, I think Godspeed will be next
Yeah,
season's villain if I had to guess.
honestly, kind of.
So I think he'll be facing.
Although if he was the villain for the final season of the Flash, if season 8 is for some reason the final season, um, I don't know if Godspeed would be a fitting villain though, because I feel like it would end with Barry fighting Thawne for one more time, right? Even though I don't want Thawne to come back, honestly, I'm kind of tired of his character, but I kind of feel like if they're ending the show, they kind of need to do that, especially since that's exactly what they set up with Barry,
I feel like
fighting Thawne, traveling back, traveling throughout time, fighting Thawne, and they end up back into his parent or his old house, and all that stuff.
yeah, I get that, but at the same time, like Godspeed is probably one of the better speedsters, and his goal is
Which
just
is
to take
essentially
every speedster speed.
Zooms.
Like you can
He was essentially Zoom 2.0, yeah. Like he was Zoom
yeah, it was
2.0.
essentially Zoom.
But like honestly, I don't think anyone would be mad by that because it's like the Flash villains have been really weak lately, except for Bloodwork. Mirror Monarch had potential, but just didn't work out. DeVoe was so boring, and the Cicadas just didn't work. They were so bad.
But, yeah, I agree with you, but yeah, I'm curious if he shows up in the second to last episode. Then he's either going to be fighting the big dude or one of the elements, like try to stop that or whatever. Or I'm guessing he'll go into the next season and maybe be Godspeed.
Yeah, wait,
that's my guess.
I thought for a second you said he's going to be Godspeed. That would be interesting though if they went that route with him.
He is
villain.
Godspeed. Oh yeah, that'd be kind of cool. Actually, he turns out to be like Godspeed's minion or something. I just said that would be kind of cool if he's like Godspeed's like guardian or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's really interesting. I'm curious to see where this show goes. I'm glad that there's less episodes this season. We were only 18, but like, yeah, I really don't know what they're going to be going with Bart Allen's character. I don't know if he's going to become Impulse, but we'll just have to wait and see. Moving on to the next segment, I guess we can talk about Supergirl here. Now, if any of you guys have been following the Galactic Arrowverse Hub account, so a lot of you guys will know that I've been taking quite a while on the Supergirl review, and here's why. I actually just posted it like just now, but the reason why, or I mean, by what I mean by posted just now is that because I mean, I kind of finally found the words to describe how I feel about the season premiere, because it's divisive or anything like that. It's just that it's so bad that I finally just have the words to like kind of describe how I feel because after watching like literally the night of watching that episode, I was just left dumbfounded. I don't know if you
I,
had that same feeling, but like I was so dumbfounded by the season premiere. I don't know. Like
I totally agree with you. There was I feel like they were just going 1,000 miles a minute, trying to do a bunch of things at once.
yeah, like people complain about like the Batwoman like season one premiere or like the series premiere or whatever. And yeah, to be fair, that like there's no excuse for that. That's a pretty bad episode, right? It like rushed over so many plot lines and stuff like that. But the difference with that is that it established them all, right? in
Yeah,
this, in the season six premiere for Supergirl, I don't know if they're trying to establish storylines or if we're gonna have any character arcs, even though that's kind of not really a smart move because this is the final season, or if we're gonna be like a if this is gonna be like a love letter like Arrow was, you know, the Arrow series finale, or yeah, the season premiere for was the final season of Arrow. It was a love. It was a love letter. It was like it wasn't trying to set up anything other than the fact that like Oliver had to go on like this journey to help the Monitor, you know, prepare for the crisis and stuff like that. But it's like, you know, like this. I don't know what they're headed with this one.
yeah. I really don't either. Like, I guess kind of the best part about this episode, I think Lex has been really entertaining through the last couple of seasons of Supergirl.
Yeah,
He's been kind of the main reason I've kind of been enjoying Supergirl a lot more.
yeah. I like John Cryer's Lex Luthor, but even his character I found a little bit off, um, because he's trying like know like if he's trying to be like the new anti-monitor or if he's like trying I don't know what his motivations are. I know he wants to stop Supergirl. Like he wants to kill Supergirl and like Superman and stuff like that because he just hates aliens, right? But it's
Yeah,
like now he wants to like he even says himself that he wants to finish what the anti-monitor started, which makes no
yeah,
sense because
yeah. Now he just wants to destroy worlds. Like I'm
like
was so confused.
yeah, he literally helped save the universe from the anti-monitor. So why would he want to go back to be like, oh yeah, you know what? I'm going to finish what he started, even though I'm one of the reasons why the anti-monitor failed. It's like that makes zero sense, right?
Yeah.
Like I get what he's trying to do with Leviathan and the whole like the launching of what do you call it? Whatever that is, like those virtual reality things. Like I get what
Hmm.
he's trying to do with that. He's trying to get people to kind of praise him as like a god-like figure, but at the same time, it's like everything else about his character, well, except for the fact that he wants to kill Supergirl, everything else it just doesn't make sense. I do like how he acts. I do like how he's very cunning. He's very smart and calculating. Like he calculates his every move. But I just
Yeah.
like the motivation that yeah, I'm gonna be like this anti-monitor multiverse level threat, right? It's like that makes no sense. Why would he do that when he just when he literally just helped save the multiverse, right?
Yeah. And like another thing, like Kara's like, oh yeah, I'm willing to give up my life. I think you even said this in your review that it was really anticlimactic.
Yeah,
It was like so I like if you guys don't know at this point, Supergirl is one of my favorite uh, CW shows, and Melissa Benoist is my celebrity crush. And just watching this, I just wanted to fall asleep. Like it
I
was,
didn't even want to fall asleep. I was just too confused. Like there was so much going on in my head. It was just like, okay, I'm trying to piece everything together. So it's like this is trying to be like, I guess like I honestly thought the season finale for season five of Supergirl was fine. I honestly thought it was
mm,
fine, even though it still wasn't that great. I honestly didn't like it. I thought it was like it served its purpose. This, on the other hand, it's like you're just adding unnecessary stuff on top of what was quote unquote finished. Like I get that fact
yeah,
that you had that one villain chick, like the blonde hair chick, right? Like she's still
yeah,
around and all that stuff, but it's like she gets killed within like the first 5 minutes of the episode. It's like,
yeah,
well, what is going on? And then
yeah,
like
exactly.
Mia
Like,
and Brainy are back together again, even though like for basically the better half of season five, like Brainy has been trying to distance himself from not just Nia, but from the rest of his friends and stuff like that. So it's like Wow, that was really quick. Like it's really easy
Yeah,
to forgive and forget, even though I get the fact that these are very
yeah,
compassionate characters, but at the same time, I really don't think that like rushing an entire arc of just trying to beat Lex Luthor by just pushing away everyone. I don't think that's great by just resolving all of that within like 5 minutes of screen time, right?
yeah. Like I really wanted Brainy to die, but
That sounds so bad, but like what do
there's
we
nothing
mean
for
by
him to
that?
do.
Well, okay, so what we mean by that is that we don't hate the character. We love the guy. I think
No,
we
I
both,
love
yeah,
Brainy.
we love Brain. I think he's one of those types of characters where like we'd love to see more of him, but like the art that they were going with him, with like him trying to like redeem himself for all the things that he's done. It's like trying to redeem himself by stopping Leviathan and potentially stopping Lex Luthor. It's like that's pretty good, right?
Hmm.
Because we honestly like, even though he's a good character, we haven't really seen him do anything monumental so far in the show ever since he became like a regular, in what was it, season
Yeah,
4. He was introduced in season 3, but like he became a regular in like season 4, I think,
yeah.
somewhere around there. But yeah, it's like we haven't seen him do anything monumental. I mean, sure, he helped save Supergirl, or he helped Supergirl save the world and stuff like that. But it's not like he destroyed and like the big bads of the season, except for like again, like I said, he helped defeat Leviathan. But it's like then that's like the payoff is just so anticlimactic, right? And that's honestly how I feel about this episode. In a way, this episode honestly kind of ruins the season 5 finale. Not that it was good or anything like that. I mean, I really didn't like
Yeah,
season 5. I thought it was just so disappointing. But this just adds another level of frustrations I have with that show.
yeah. Like, I think to this point, like, I'm hoping since Kara is now in the Phantom Zone and whatever, I hope the rest of the episodes are good. I really want this show to end off on a good note. I've just been sick and tired of this show getting worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
I'm just done at this point. Like, I'm hoping it continues this. I hope it continues. I hope it gets better, if that makes sense, because like this episode, like you said, it goes a million different ways. There was so much info, just all
And
in
no,
this episode going at miles a minute.
yeah, and then not only that, like at least with like season premieres, you need to like one thing a lot of season premieres do is that it sets up what the rest of the season is either A gonna be like, or what we're gonna expect from the other episodes. Like the Flash season 7 premiere. Like, yeah, it still continues the Mirrorverse storyline, but we kind of at least
Hmm.
know where some of the characters are headed, right? Like we know that, okay,
Yeah.
so there's gonna be like this artificial speed force, but like obviously we didn't get the whole idea that there was going to be side effects to it. But yeah, we do know that the artificial speed force isn't just going to be this simple kind of concept, right? And not only
Hmm.
that, it's like Ava, she does have some character. Like in the season 7 premiere, they like, even though it was never meant to be a premiere, it introduced the fact that she actually is like the mirror duplicate of her original self. So it's like, okay, so the next 2 episodes they actually kind of deal with that. And I've said this before in the podcast, but I actually really like that storyline. I was just so disappointed with how it ended in the 3rd episode,
Hmm.
but we still at least got an idea as to what we're going to be getting, to cap off those episodes with Ava McCullough, right? With this,
Yeah.
I have no idea where they're going because okay, after Lex Luthor ends up in jail, right? Lena shows up with
Hmm.
Myriad, and then Memory wipes both her brother and her mother. So it's like, okay, cool. I don't know what's gonna happen to the
Yeah.
characters now.
Yeah, I have no idea what's going. Like, I don't know what's happening this season. Like, what is the end goal? Trying to get Kara out, or is she going to stay in the Phantom Zone?
Yeah,
Like, I don't
I
know.
think the only thing
I'm
that
so
I think the
confused.
only thing that like I probably know what they're kind of trying to do is they're probably going to try to build on Alex's character, and I guess what was her code name, Sentinel or something like that. She's going to become Sentinel.
Sensitive or
Yeah,
something
it's like,
like
okay, that's
that.
pretty cool. Like I really don't think we're gonna get like a spin-off of her or anything like that, but like I mean, I
No.
guess they're gonna try to build her character. Maybe like what's gonna happen is that Supergirl, she leaves, or like Kara, she leaves to go somewhere else at the end of the season, and then maybe like Alex kind of takes her place, not as Supergirl, but as like the kind of the guardian angel of National City. Maybe that's what they're going with that, but
Yeah,
again, it's so vague. I like that's, but again, that's like
yeah,
that's the literally the only thing with this episode that kind of sets up something that I like. I know it's going
yeah.
somewhere at least, right? If it's not going somewhere, then I don't know what the writers are doing. But
Yeah, like if we do get a spin-off, it's probably going to maybe be like Alex and Brainy and
I,
Dreamer doing something
to be
maybe.
completely honest with you, I'd like to see a Martian Manhunter spinoff because he is one of the.
Yeah,
Well, we can't call them Justice League because they're not the Justice League, but we'll just call them the de facto Justice League.
Super Friends.
Well, that's Supergirl's team because, like, in the Arrowverse, at the end of Crisis on Infinite Earths, you have like the league table. Well, it essentially resembles
Hmm.
the league table, but they're not the Justice League. So, like, what do we call them? The de facto Justice League and stuff like that. But it's like, yeah, it's like,
Yeah, I don't know.
it's like hopefully because Martian Manhunter is one of them. John Jones is one of them. I honestly do want to get a spinoff episode, like a spin-off show of his character because I mean, look, it is Martian Manhunter. Martian Manhunter, he is a
Yeah.
staple in DC comics and DC Universe in general, right? So if we got a Martian
Hmm.
Manhunter show, that'd be pretty cool. I'd like to see that. Probably
Yeah, I would too.
maybe with the Martian Manhunter show, we can probably bring back Alex and maybe have her kind of grow as the sentinel kind of persona, right? And
Yeah.
we got news that Kelly Olsen, which is Alex's girlfriend and stuff like that, apparently she's going to
Hmm.
be taking the mantle of Guardian. I think that's her name, right? Guardian, like her brother,
Yeah,
James
Guardian.
Olsen,
Yeah.
right? So, like,
Yeah.
I mean, that's cool. That's cool to see. But like in a final season, I think we said this before in some of our Black Lightning reviews. It's like, why have all of this when it's the final season? You should be setting up more
Exactly.
and more storylines. Like if anything, this kind of
Unless,
this kind of hints at the fact that there's going to be a spinoff. Which there's no
yeah, that's
news
what I
about
was
that
about to
yet. But
say.
like again, like I said, maybe have a Martian Manhunter spinoff and have these characters come in there and maybe build their characters there. Maybe have like Sentinel be like a sidekick or like kind of like an apprentice to Martian Manhunter, right? And then maybe have like Kelly Olsen
Yeah.
kind of build as the Guardian character, right? So like, why did you have all that? Like, why are you setting up all this in the final season when, like, this again? Like I said, this is something that you'd see in like a spinoff.
Yeah. So yeah, just by you saying that, it does make sense if there probably are setting up a spin-off of some
But
sort, even if it's Martian Manhunter, if it's just
but
Alex, if it's just one of those
yeah, but
guys.
like, what's weird is that like, there's no news of a spinoff at all. Like even with Arrow, like with
Yeah.
Arrow in the final season, we got news that there was going to be a potential spinoff with Green Arrow, the Canaries. I mean, they even explicitly like I think the showrunner, I can't remember who, but it was someone at the CW explicitly said that there's going to be a backdoor pilot episode in the final season of Arrow, which would set up what could have been the Green Arrow, the Canary show, right? And
Yeah.
they did the same thing with Black Lightning with Painkiller, but there's nothing here. So why are they setting this up?
Yeah.
And I assume Supergirl is going to have less episodes this season. I highly doubt it's going to go
Yeah.
with the full 20 or 23 episode long season. I highly doubt they're going to do that, even with
Yeah.
all the stuff going on right now with the COVID restrictions. It's like I highly doubt they're going to have that long of a season. So it's like, why set up all of that when you have a short time frame to, I guess, send the fans off or send the viewers off, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. We'll just have to see, I guess. I mean, yeah, I agree with you. I don't think this Supergirl season will be that long. I'm curious to see what Kara does and to whatever it's called
Yeah, the
or
Phantom Zone.
whatever. But
I do think it's
yeah, the
interesting that
Phantom
we're
Zone.
finally getting the Phantom Zone in the Arrowverse after like
Hmm.
so many seasons of Supergirl. It's like, okay, I mean, they mentioned the Phantom Zone a lot, but it's like, okay, but we don't actually get to see it. So like, we get to see
Yeah.
the Fortress of Solitude. Why can't we see the Phantom Zone and stuff like that? You know?
Yeah. So we'll just have to see. And yeah, I don't know at this point. I just hope the season improves because that last episode kind of killed it for me. But we'll just have to see.
Yeah.
We'll just have to see.
But the show that Supergirl actually replaced was Superman and Lois. And if you guys don't know, Superman and Lois is on was 2 month hiatus, and I mean,
Hmm.
apparently Supergirl is also going to be going on a hiatus as well. Like once Superman and Lois comes back, I think Supergirl might go on a hiatus and then come back in the summer alongside Stargirl and all the other shows. But
Hmm.
yeah, Superman and Lois. This is a show that I'm really enjoying. I honestly do think that, like,
Yeah.
I mean, after the last episode, I mean, there's a like I'm just craving for more. Like I cannot wait for 2 months to see where it all
Yeah.
goes, and stuff like that. Like
Yeah, I totally agree. Like this show has been phenomenal this first season. Like I think this and Stargirl have been the best first seasons of DC TV in like a long, long
yeah,
time. So
exactly. And I really liked the last
like
episode too, with how it was kind of like a trip. I think I said this in my review. It was a tribute to Martha Kent, because like I mean
yeah.
she died in the pilot episode, which is kind of saddening for any
Mm.
Superman fans out there. But it's like
Mhm.
they actually kind of honor her, and like in a way, her legacy is reflected through what the Kent family does right now, with Jordan and Jonathan. And I'm really liking the dynamics between each character. I really like to see, like they take realistic problems. So here's the thing with Superman and Lois, you think that it's a show with Superman punching bad guys and stuff, and like Lois Lane, being like the reporter who she is, but it deals more with that. It goes into like really like it goes into like storylines that you can very much relate to. Like Jonathan's character in that episode, like he was the famous kid in Smallville, right? He essentially had the entire world to him. There, he had a girlfriend. He was gonna start. He was gonna be a starter on the football team, and then he moves to Smallville, and he essentially
Yep.
loses everything, and he's basically at the bottom of the barrel, right? And it's like,
Yeah.
so I was just want to continue, and he was like, you know, how does a kid who like just how does a pauper kid who has literally everything in the world, you know, lose everything, and how do they deal with that, and stuff like that. And, this show deals with that, and they kind of touch a little bit onto alcohol, not too much, but just a little bit, and like how his
Hmm.
family and friends will react and stuff like that. It's like I really like that. It's again, like I said, it's very like serious problems and issues that people go through, like very real grounded issues that people go through. And I'm so surprised as to how grounded this show is. And even like with
Yeah.
leaving your parents, and like trying to build your own life, trying to build your own legacy, they deal with that. It was, Clark dealt with that with, when he was still a young kid, and like now he's kind of reflecting that onto his sons. It's like, this is very real. Like this is very like grounded storytelling. I was so surprised by that.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like it was kind of a flip flop for both the kids because I forget their names, but the popular kid
Jonathan,
in where Jonathan is kind of switched, and now the other
Jordan, yeah,
kid that has superpowers, Jordan, is more popular at his school now because he's doing well in football. He's now kind of getting to know this one girl, and he's starting. It's kind of like a flip flop. Like he's more happy, and then he's just not as happy. Which he, like you said again, like this is real life stuff. Like he says he wants to leave because he's just not right there, and he wants to go back and do better where he used to
yeah.
be. And it's just one of those things where it's like you said, it's based off real life stuff. Like that's what makes this show phenomenal. I think this is a show where it does real life
Yeah, and
perfectly.
it's one of
Like,
those types of things too, where it's like, I mean, it's literally for everyone. If you're here for the action's great. The CGI looks like not like it's like the greatest thing ever, but it looks so good. It looks like a movie, right? Like, I mean,
mm-hmm.
later because we're going to be talking about Man of Steel. This literally is like a Man of Steel show, but if Superman has like a family, right? That's literally what this
Yeah,
is. I really like that, and the cinematography is exactly like like stuff you'd see from like Man of Steel and all that stuff like that. So if you're into that stuff, that's great. But also if you're into like deep storytelling, and you're into like great writing, like I am, it's like this is also it. This is really good. Like this is literally for everyone, kids, adults, teenagers. Like, I mean, and not only that, you can also relate to it too. So it's like,
yeah, yeah. And another thing I love about this, I love how Mr. Luther, on his Earth, his wife was Lois
yeah,
Lane. I love that is perfect to me. I think that is perfect storytelling as finest right here. And I'm guaranteed when it comes back, he's gonna find out that she's married to Superman and
I
get
think he already
pissed.
knows that.
Like,
Yeah,
does
well, I
he?
mean,
I don't know if he
he's
does.
kind of been stalking the Kens for quite a while now. You know.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I guess we'll figure it out. I don't know if he knows yet, but we'll see. But like this show is phenomenal. I'm super happy that they already announced a season 2 for it, like only 2 episodes in. Like I've been enjoying this show. I hope that it doesn't go downhill like some shows
Yeah,
do.
I
But
honestly
but this show has
I
been
honestly
phenomenal.
want like because we talk about how behind the scenes, Superman Lois is kind of the driving point for the CW and HBO Max to reach an agreement to kind of co-finance each other's shows and stuff like that. Mainly Superman Lois and try to
Hmm.
get the CW shows onto HBO Max, right? Um, I kind of want
Hmm.
Superman Lois and Stargirl to kind of be what do you call it? Kind of like like a
The
soft
future.
reboot of the Arrowverse. Kind of start fresh and because a lot
Hmm.
of here's the thing, a lot of the older shows like Arrow's already finished. Supergirl and Black Lightning are going to be ending like real soon. They're all on their final seasons for
Hmm.
those two shows. The Flash is going to get its
Hmm.
eighth season, but we don't know how long it's going to last. And honestly, to be completely honest with you guys, if the Flash at the end of the season, if the showrunner announces that the Flash is going to be ending after season 8, I honestly would not be that surprised because it's honestly
I won't be that
we
surprised
did talk
either.
about this earlier on in this episode, but like the show is starting running out of ideas. It really has, and the only show that I
Yeah,
can see that still has some potential in kind of what they could tell, yeah, as
is
Legends
Legends.
exactly, right? And I honestly do think that like out of the original like original DC CW shows, the ones that have been around for quite a while, I
Hmm.
do think that Legends is the best right now.
Yeah, like because when it comes to like superhero TV shows, I think we talked about this a lot. Like for example, The Flash. You have his main villains, but when you've done his main villains multiple times, it gets
Yeah, and
repetitive.
it's another thing too because like it's one of those types of things where like yeah, in the comics like the Flash and Reverse Flash, they're like iconic, hero villain rivalry, right? It doesn't work
Yeah,
if that constantly just shows up in movies and shows because it gets repetitive. The reason why it works in comics because you can do it in so many different aspects, right? You can like just talk in comics.
yeah,
You basically have no filter in comics, right? In TV shows and movies,
yeah.
you have to have some sort of filter, right? So to
Hmm.
have the Reverse Flash constantly show up, it's very tiresome. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's one of those things where the Flash's greatest villains, like his rogues gallery, has kind of already been done. We had Reverse Flash, we had Zoom, we had Captain Cold, although he had, like in the Arrowverse he kind of became a good guy, and those are really his
Hmm.
biggest villains, right? I mean, we still have to
Yeah.
touch on Godspeed, but like he's more of a newer type of villain. But it's like that show
Yeah.
really has started to run out, so that's why I keep saying, or I keep saying, but I want to advocate for this. I want Superman, Lois, and Stargirl to kind of be like kind of like soft reboot the Arrowverse. I know.
Yeah.
John Wesley's ship's Jay Garrick character from the Flash show is going to show up in Stargirl season 2, which is great. I mean, it just further cements the interconnectedness of the DC TV multiverse. But at the same time, I want
Hmm.
both of like the newer CW shows to kind of just like after all the old shows end, kind of just start fresh, start new, maybe introduce some new characters. Like we're going to be getting Naomi, which that's like literally a brand spanking new
Yeah.
character in the comics. I mean, she's like a new character, so it's like, okay, we're going to be getting her. We potentially might get Painkiller, so it's like, why don't you just like reboot, start fresh, start slow too? Don't try to like rush everything. Just kind
Yeah.
of, I mean,
Hmm.
obviously, like take the formula that works so well, that worked for a very long time, which is the slow type of MCU level building and format. And that's not me saying that I want DC to turn into Marvel because I feel like they should do their own thing, right? But it's like the Arrowverse
Yeah,
essentially is the MCU of TV shows. It really is, right?
yeah. Quick question: is Titans above a part of
It's in
this
the
universe?
multiverse, yeah.
Correct.
Titans, Doom Patrol,
So
yeah.
it is in the
But
multiverse.
like we're just talking about like the
Okay.
CW shows alone because like I feel like when it comes to all the other shows, they're kind of set in their ways. I really don't see them changing, especially
Yeah.
with like Titans. Like after all the news that we heard about Titan season 3, I really don't think that show's gonna be changing. I do think it's still gonna be kind of a bit of a mess. I don't want to sound so pessimistic, but like
Oh yeah,
honestly,
that
like
season's gonna be a
after
mess.
everything that we learned about Red Hood, Barbara, we're gonna be getting Tim Drake, Scarecrow. We're gonna be going to Gotham. We're gonna have Blackfire. It's like there's a lot going on in season 3. Okay, that has me really worried. So it's
Yeah.
like that show is set in its ways with being very messy. Doom Patrol is one like honestly, Doom
Yeah.
Patrol is like one of the most underrated shows in my opinion. It is so good. It's like if the Umbrella Academy and The Boys kind of became one show, and that's what we got. Doom Patrol. It is just a great
Hmm.
show. I love the jokes in it. It is so funny. It's a really good show. But like, yeah, that show is also set in its ways as well. We kind of know what we're going to be expecting from the next season of Doom Patrol. So, but it's like, so like we don't like
Yeah.
those shows. It's fine. When it comes to the CW shows, I'm a little worried because I don't know if we're going to be like the consistency. It's going to be consistent, or if it's going to start going downhill like it has with like Flash and Supergirl and stuff like that. Which is kind of saddening because
Yeah.
I love the Arrowverse. It is like the universe. Like I mean, again, like I said, it's second best to the MCU, right? It's like
Hmm.
it's
Yeah.
done in a way where it's like Greg Berlanti. He's patient. He was patiently building up this universe, and although it's not perfect, you have to admit like what the Arrowverse has accomplished for DC is kind of unbelievable, right? And Crisis was kind of the culmination of that. So it's like you know like I still want them to follow the format that has worked for them for like for just how many years? Like it was like nearly a decade, right? I don't want them to ditch the old format, but at the same time, I want them to do something like like innovate. Like maybe have Superman, Lois, and Stargirl kind of be parallel along with like obviously they exist on different Earths, but why don't you have them like parallel like just start slow and maybe you can have like a Stargirl spinoff or a Superman Lois spinoff, which I actually don't think that's going to happen. But like maybe, yeah, like I said, maybe
Yeah.
bring in like a Martian Manhunter show, like have him kind of like because that's
Yeah.
going to bring in a lot of people. If like here's the thing, if the CW announces that there's going to be a Martian Manhunter show right now, well, there's going to be people like excited for
Hmm.
well, not really excited, but people are going to be talking about it. When Superman Lois was first announced, like even
Yeah.
though it was from the CW, and a lot of people kind of rolled their eyes because oh man, it's from the CW, it's going to turn into like the Flash or whatever. Like, people were still like intrigued because
Hmm.
the name Superman Lois it's a pretty big name for DC. It's a pretty big IP, so it's like
Yeah.
bring in Martian Manhunter. Like he's going to bring in a lot of money and viewers, like no doubt. Even though like if people like the
Yeah.
CW or not, no doubt he's going to bring it. He's going to bring in a lot of people. So just do that.
Yeah. Yeah, like I totally agree with you. Like when you have big names like Superman, Martian Manhunter, those type of guys, they're gonna bring in people because Superman is probably one of the
So he
faces
is
of
the face of
DC,
DC,
and
well,
people
besides
love.
Batman and Wonder Woman.
Yeah, yeah. Like when you talk about DC, you talk about Superman. Like it's just one of those things where you just need to think of a story. Like that's all it takes. You just need to get people interested in the story. Like if Martian Manhunter goes up against I don't know any Martian Manhunter villains, but if he goes up against like a super cool villain, then it brings people more in. Like if you bring back a classic villain for Martian Manhunter, like I'm not saying like bring in someone stupid that doesn't make sense like the Joker because it just doesn't make sense. Just bring in someone that like old DC fans like no, like it's just about storytelling. Like I don't want you to bring in a Martian Manhunter show if you don't know what you're
Yeah,
gonna do with
that
it.
you bring up a really good point because when Superman and Lois was first announced, it was like, okay, so it's not just a Superman show, it's Superman and Lois, which is kind of obvious. So obviously, if we're gonna get a Superman show, we're obviously gonna get Lois Lane. But why is she on the name of this show? Why is it called Superman and Lois? It kind of, it resembles the Lois and Clark show. So people immediately assume that, oh, it's gonna be like Lois and
Yeah.
Clark, and it kind of is. But it's the reason why I think I can't remember who, but like during the series premiere event, which was after the episode, there was like this after show like kind of event thing where like the writers and showrunners, they were talking about Superman and stuff like that and what the show is going to be like. They did say that the Lois aspect of the name, Superman and Lois. Superman, obviously it's Superman, right? We're going to be getting all the fight scenes. We're going to name the heroic Superman that we all know and love, right? But the Lois aspect is the more grounded parts of the show. We're going to be getting the family aspects. We're going to be getting, the reporter side of Lois Lane. It's not just Superman punching bad guys and flying at, super speed. We're also be getting Lois Lane and the Lois part, because that's the human part of that name. Superman is obviously an alien, but Lois is kind of, it kind of brings Superman down to a more grounded level that we can relate to. And we just talked about how Superman and Lois is an extremely relatable show. It really is. And anyone who's watching Superman and Lois, I can like instantly bet right now there's going to be someone who's like, yeah, I can relate to that. Whether it be a father, a brother, like a mother, or something like that. Like if they're watching that show, they'd be like, yeah, that's very real problems that like, and I'm really glad the show is addressing them, right? Because it's rare that you have something like this. Now I know the CW has been trying to bring these types of levels of storytelling in their shows, but because it's the CW, right? They've kind of had a history of having very campy levels of story, or campy and corny levels of storytelling and dialogue. Yeah, so it's like I just immediately think back to the Flash season 7 episode 3, where it's like we need to use like the power of love to save the world and stuff like that. It's like, but it's like, it's rare that the CW is doing something like this, and I honestly hope they do something like this again. And look at even Stargirl. I can relate to Stargirl as well. It's like, a high school drama, kind of, not really. It's brings in elements of high school drama, but also it's like, again, new girl comes into town, like basically an outsider, right? But she, starts to uncover a mystery. She starts to believe in a lie, and actually, in a way, I've been thinking about this for a while. Stargirl's character arc in the show is actually exactly the same to Ray's. But now this is a discussion for a different time, and maybe we'll touch on this later, or maybe like whenever we get to Star Wars: The Last Jedi or whatever. But the reason why I like Stargirl's character arc over Ray's, even though they're literally the exact same character arc, the reason why I do like Stargirl's better is because it fits within the universe and the execution was there. That's another thing. The newer shows, the Stargirl and Superman and Lois, the execution, everything about it is perfect. There's not, it doesn't feel rushed. It's not like they're trying to shoehorn in like this one thing where it's like, oh yeah, Superman's a bad guy, that's why Lex Luthor hates, like the Captain Luthor hates him. No, like there's a genuine reason why. Like, he wants to sit, like his world was destroyed, so it's like he blames Superman because he's the big bad there. So it's like, yeah, I definitely want to stop whatever, like, because he thinks that Superman is responsible for all the problems of any Earth, really, So it's like, and not only that, with him seeing what on his Earth is his wife with Superman, it's like that's really disheartening. It's like, yeah, I want to do anything I can to stop Superman. So it's like he's not just like, oh, I hate aliens and all that stuff. No, he has a genuine reason why, and the way that the show explains that, even though it's very subtle and minute, it is still perfect. The execution is perfect.
Yeah, like we've pretty much touched on everything about the show. I think this show, if the Flash ends, this and Stargirl has to be like the main shows to carry the CW for at least
More
a little
shows,
bit until we get like Painmaker, like
that's
Blue
a movie.
Beetle, I
Yeah,
think was either a movie or show. And I think like we just need Yeah, we just need to introduce more characters into this, and
I
then you could
honest,
do spin-offs
I don't. I
like you do
honestly don't
Painmaker
know what
and
other
stuff like
characters
that.
the CW could make shows on, because they can't do Green Lantern because
Has there been anything about
well, there is
Aquaman?
going to be like an Aquaman cartoon show, and to be completely honest with you,
Hmm.
I honestly don't think they can do Aquaman because he is going to be getting his own set of movies in the DCEU. So it's like, excuse me, maybe they could, maybe like the CW, because they have name dropped Atlantis numerous times on the Flash, so maybe. But it's like at the same time, the chances of that happening
Yeah,
are extremely low. So
maybe they can do like
they
Aquaboy or
could,
something like
especially
that.
since his character was so disappointingly killed off in Titans. Like, I really don't understand the whole like the purpose of his
Hmm.
character in Titans, other than the fact that I guess he was kind of the
Hmm.
catalyst for all that's gone wrong with that team. But again, I still don't really get it. But it's like, yeah, they could do Aquaboy, but I honestly don't know what other characters they could use. Like the CW could make shows on because they're doing Superman, they're doing Stargirl, and they're
Hmm.
apparently going to do Painkiller and Naomi. So it's like, are they really going to get to the point where they're going to start like scraping the barrel and start giving out D-list characters and like shows about D-list characters? So I mean, that's
Yeah,
good. Like they're shedding light on lesser known characters and making them more popular. Like Green Arrow as a character has become so much more popular thanks to the show, right? But it's like
yeah,
how low can they go? They can't do Green Lantern. They obviously can't do Wonder Woman because she's going to get her own movies. They obviously cannot do
and they can't
Batman.
do
There's
like
no way the
Nightwing,
CW ever does
Robin.
Batman.
Yeah, they can't do like Robin,
Yeah,
Nightwing.
so
That's in
it's
a
like
different universe,
I
so
really
they
don't
can't do
know.
anything
Like,
like
and
that.
even if the CW does get the green light to start more DC shows, a lot of DC shows are going over to HBO Max. Like, if you guys don't know, recently, Joe, the actor who played Deathstroke in the DCEU, a lot of people have been wanting him to get his own show on HBO Max. It's like, yeah, I can definitely see that. So, but like that kind of just drives the point that HBO Max is now kind
Mhm.
of the hub world for DC, and anything DC related just goes through them now, right? Instead of the CW. So it's like, what can the CW do after this? Like after all the old shows end, after their flagship shows end, and now they have to start relying on Superman, Lois, and Stargirl. It's like, what do they do next?
Yeah, after thinking about this, like when the Flash, Supergirl, Black Lightning
Yeah,
end,
when the Flash
they
ends,
don't have
that's
much to
really
work
like
with.
a lot of people. I know a lot of people are going to say the Arrowverse is dead. I don't think the Arrowverse is ever going to die. Like, and that's just simply because of Superman, Lois, and even
Yeah,
Stargirl too. Even though Stargirl's not really in the same Earth as the Arrowverse, but still, it's like, it's still made by the CW and all that stuff. But it's like what's next for the CW? Like, I really don't know.
after wait, like like obviously in Crisis, we saw Barry Allen talk
Yeah,
to the other Barry Allen. So I'm curious to see if maybe Flashpoint, like that Barry does something and like messes up the
I
CW
I
timeline or something like that and changes
So with the
stuff.
Flash movie that's coming next
I
year,
don't
I
know.
highly doubt they're going to do something like that because that's dealing with so much. Like, yeah, like the solo Flash movie is essentially going to be Flashpoint, right? That's going to be the DCE's Flashpoint. Um, I
Yeah.
really don't think they're going to go that far and basically have Crisis on Infinite Earths again, especially since we just had it. Like, if like that would be basically within the span of 2 years, we have two different Crises on Infinite Earths. I think that just goes to show that DC does not know what it's doing in terms of its storytelling. So it's like, I really don't think they should cram in Flashpoint
Hmm.
and Crisis and put it as like one movie because it honestly would end up like Batman v Superman, where it's too much. It tries to handle too much and it just doesn't work.
Yeah, but like I didn't mean like start like have them both in like a movie or something. Just maybe in the future of some point they
Like
can
something
do
happens to the
something like
CW
that.
show, like the
If
Arrowverse to the point where like something drastic happens, like
Yeah, like something drastic happens and then Barry, if the Flash is still going on, goes into the Speed Force and then meets up with the other Flash and maybe do something like that. I don't see that happening anytime soon, but if the CW and them are like running out of ideas at that point and they're not like just pretend they're dying and whatnot, like that could be maybe another option and make it just pop off again. But I doubt that would happen. But like, yeah, it's after thinking about like the CW. I don't think the Arrowverse is gonna die. Like you
It's
said,
gonna
I
reach this
agree with
very
you on
low
that
point.
point. But
It's gonna reach a
like after, it's gonna reach at least a reach of low point. Yeah, like it's gonna run out of ideas eventually, and they're not gonna have enough characters to like
yeah, exactly. Like
do stuff
I
with.
honestly like again, like I said, after the Flash ends, it's like what does the CW do now? Obviously, it still has Superman and Lois. It's still gonna have Stargirl. It might have Legends, but like we don't know how long that show will last. So it's and they're starting to show on
Yeah,
Naomi, which like until that announcement, I had no idea who that character was. So like they really are reaching like not really low points. I'm not going to say like oh this all sucks now, but it's like they really are reaching the point where they don't know. Like I don't know if there's any other characters left that the CW can make shows on. Like maybe like have the air.
yeah.
Sorry, go on.
Like we'll just have to see. Sorry to interrupt. I was just saying, like, mate, we'll just have to see in the future, man. Like unless they do the Painkiller show for like 5, 6 seasons, which I doubt they will. They just need to find characters that we didn't know existed, and then just bring them up. I guess like we don't know. Maybe they have a character in their back pocket. Maybe they have like a crossover where the whole
Or like
Arrowverse is destroyed, or
I don't
something like
want this
that.
to
I doubt
happen,
they'll
but
do something
I
like
do
that.
think
But
that like maybe a reboot is kind of in the works. Like maybe like or not necessarily a reboot, but like maybe like the CW focuses on like a different universe with and it's just like they just start fresh,
mm-hmm.
like completely fresh. But I highly doubt that's going to happen because they still have shows that are
Yeah.
still happening on the main Earth. So it's like again, like I said, it would be really great if they had a Martian Manhunter show and then go from there. And then like I'm trying to think what are some other
Mm.
characters that they can make shows on. Like I'm really trying to think right now. Like in terms of DC characters, like here I can even look it up right now.
Like I
Like some DC characters, or like just anyone in the Justice League, really. Like just Justice League characters, like maybe like a
like, can you make a Hawkman?
yeah, like
Well, they were
Hawk
in
Girl would be pretty
Legends.
cool. They kind of wasted her. Well, yeah, they did. They really did kind of waste her character.
Yeah, like they have the Green Lantern, but I don't know what their plan is with
Well, I feel like
Diggle and
he's
Delco
gonna
getting his own
show up.
show.
Like because he's gonna be directing. Like the actor's gonna be directing a lot of. He's gonna be directing a lot of episodes in all the shows, but I think, you know, like he might make an appearance every now and then. I'm not entirely sure about that, but
Like you can't do Harley Quinn. You can't do like
they could
those
have
types
done
because the
one
Suicide
on
movie's
Ray
coming
Palmer,
out.
but he already left Legends, and he was a pretty big member of the Justice League. So like,
Yeah.
they could do one on Cyborg, but he's already in Doom Patrol, and like
Mm-hmm.
after the whole thing, or after the drama with Ray
Mm-hmm.
Fisher, I don't know if the CW or I don't know if DC or Warner Brothers in general want to do anything Cyborg related, because that in a way that's going to make them look even more bad
Mm-hmm.
after the stuff that they did with what's his face, Ray Fisher, and
Yeah, and you also can't do like a Shazam
yeah,
show because obviously they have a movie and stuff. Like I can't really think of any other DC characters at the moment that
yeah, it's
you
really
could do.
tough. Again, Green Lantern show would be pretty cool, but they're already doing that on HBO Max.
Yeah, and that's getting a movie too soon. Like,
Yeah, they kind of are
like this.
a
Yeah,
little bit.
can you do maybe a
Sinestro.
Sinestro
I don't know.
show?
I feel like he's gonna show up in.
Like the
I feel
Yellow
like that, like
Lantern?
either him or maybe someone like him is gonna show up in the Green Lantern show. I don't know how that would
Yeah.
work as a show.
Yeah, so yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
kind of worrying me because I think
Yeah,
about that every
yeah.
now and then. It's like, what does the CW do once The Flash and like Legends end. Like they still have their newer shows, but it's like they can't really make any
Yeah.
other characters after that. Like, they still have Batwoman, yeah. Let's not like throw Batwoman away, but like,
Yeah.
look, the ratings for Batwoman are so bad right now that like I'm still surprised that it's still going on. Like, even though I do think that it's still a decent show, like it's getting, like,
Yeah.
it's better than all the people are saying. Like, it gets a lot of unnecessary hate, right? But at the same time, it's
Yeah.
like how long can that show last? Because like I said, the hour, like not the hours, the viewers, like the viewer ratings are getting really bad. Like, 'cause it's one of the least watched shows in all of the CW.
Yeah. Like I'm just trying to think. You can't like with an ocean. Would people want to watch an ocean show?
Like the
Like,
ocean character from Batwoman?
like.
No, I don't think people. I don't think
Yeah.
anyone would care at all.
I mean, fair enough. I'm just trying. I can't think of
Yeah.
anybody, man. I legit can't. Yeah. So yeah, in the next couple of years,
I get maybe a
the
cyborg show
Arrowverse
could
is-
work,
we'll
but
have to
he's
see.
already
Unless,
well, I guess he's already going to be in Doom Patrol, and yeah, but I guess maybe Cyborg could work. I mean, after
yeah,
the Snyder Cut, even though like, look, Warner Brothers wants nothing to do with the Snyder Cut, but like it, like
yeah,
I feel like he probably would be the only character that I can see work.
yeah. I guess we'll just have to see in the future. Maybe the Arrowverse will come up with some big superhero we haven't heard of, and then we'll
Yeah.
go from there. I
Well,
guess.
I guess on that note, we can move on to the next segment. I mean, I don't want to end that segment on a pretty bad note, but it's just like, what's to hope? What is there to hope about?
hmm
But moving on to something that
Yeah,
we are hoping to
yeah.
continue, I guess that's a really bad transition. If you guys don't know, we've been reviewing and yeah, I guess watching and reviewing the Star Wars movies.
Actually, just to interrupt you
I
quick,
don't
could they do a Nora show?
after season 5 of The Flash. I don't think. Well, people. I've seen a lot of people want Nora to return, but like not be the same character because a lot of people really did not like Nora's character in The Flash.
Oh, yeah. Understandable. That's just the thing that
Yeah,
popped up
but
in my head.
yeah, we've been
You
reviewing
may
the
continue.
Star Wars movies. I just had a brain fart there, but yeah, last episode we did Phantom Menace, and we'll move on to what I think is literally the worst, one of the worst
Mhm.
Star Wars movies of all time, that being Attack of the Clones, and I think that, like we've met like because I recently we saw each other in person, and I kind of expressed my feelings on it a little bit. Didn't want to spill the
Yeah.
whole beans on it, but I want to hear your opinions on it
Yeah.
first.
Yeah.
You mean
So
movie?
the show was kind of tough. Yeah, sorry. We would talk about shows so much I totally lost track. This movie, it felt like
That's
nothing
interesting,
happened.
considering the fact that most Star Wars
Like
fans agree
besides,
that like this movie's more important than Phantom Menace because Phantom Menace you can literally skip and then you wouldn't miss anything in Attack of the Clones. Like that's interesting that you say that, but yeah, go on.
yeah, to me it just felt like nothing happened.
Start of the Clone
Like
Wars.
besides like maybe besides like that and that type of thing, it just felt like nothing
You mean
happened
Jango
to me.
Fett?
Maybe besides like Boba Fett dying. Yeah, Jango Fett. Sorry, what? Yeah, so complicated. But like, it's just this episode just felt boring. Like, I don't even know. I don't even
That's
have
interesting.
words
Did you
to
think the same thing
explain
about the Phantom Menace? Because that's what a lot of people say.
this
A lot of people
movie
say the
bored
Phantom
me.
Menace is boring, but I'm really like look. Here's the thing. I'm with you. I think
I mean,
Attack of the Clones is so boring and so unbearable to watch, but like I've never heard anyone say that nothing happens in this movie.
yeah, like I think honestly, I
Yeah.
think I like Phantom Menace more than
that's
I
just
did this
because
movie.
like I think for me personally, I think the thing that really just turns me off are just the romance scenes. So if you guys don't know, the screenplay was, I believe, written by George
Oh,
Lucas,
God.
and a lot of people say that, oh yeah, well he also did romance in Empire Strikes Back. yeah, but it was subtle. Like not one. No, I don't mean it like that. But it's like it works.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like it's still kind of cheesy, right? But it's not like unbearable to watch. Like oh my goodness, like the acting is so bad. The dialogue is so bad. It's like like honestly, while I was
Mm-hmm.
watching this movie, whenever it got to the scenes with Anakin and Padme, I just was going. I was just on my phone. I really was. Like I honestly would stop going on my phone once it got to like Obi-Wan scenes like on Kamino and stuff like that because those are actually really interesting. I did like Obi-Wan's kind of like because he's the main like
Mm-hmm.
his storyline's like the main plot of the movie, and then the Anakin and Padme stuff is the subplot. Even though that's actually
Mm-hmm.
really important because it kind of comes back later in Revenge of the Sith. But it's like like I can't watch it. I really can't. Like I can listen, like maybe I'll listen to it, but I'll just cringe while I'm listening to it. Like the whole
Mm-hmm.
like I don't know, like the whole like I don't think the system works thing. It's like it's so cringy to listen to. Like while I was just on my phone, I was just so cringy to listen to, and I never liked any of those scenes,
Yeah.
even when I was a kid when I first watched it. Like believe it or not, guys, when I was watching because no, well, yeah, that.
Marley was a
but
kid
like
at one point.
when I was a kid and I watched Attack of the Clones, I legit almost fell asleep. I never really fall asleep in these types of
Fair
movies,
enough. I
no
don't
matter
blame
how
you.
boring they are. Even in Josh Whedon's Justice League, even in Thor: The Dark World, even in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, like even though those movies are boring, they don't reach like the level of just unimaginable, just like unbearable pain of just watching this movie. Like,
Whoa, 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 whoa! You did not just
to be
roast
completely honest with you
Guardians of the
guys,
Galaxy
Guardians
2, and you
2
almost
not as
slept
good
through
as
it.
Guardians 1, and it honestly was kind of, I honestly forgot about like what happened in that movie.
That's
Like
true.
it was so boring. The only thing that held that movie together
I,
were the
I
jokes.
mean, yeah, fair enough.
Okay,
Oh, come
yeah,
on. Baby
that's what
Groot
I was saying.
was
The jokes are
okay.
really the only thing that held that movie together. Other than that, it was so boring.
Yeah, and I'm just to let
Uh,
people know I'm not a big fan of
okay,
Baby Groot.
okay. Let's
Just
go
to
back
let
to
you guys
Star
know.
Wars before you
But
before
continue
you piss
on.
off more of our listeners. Okay, but anyways, uh, yeah,
Fair
Attack
enough.
of the
Continue on.
Clones. I mean, like a lot of people, I've heard before say that yeah, Attack of the Clones is a better movie than Phantom Menace. I think now, like I've seen a lot of people nowadays kind of view like hold the Phantom Menace up higher than Attack of the Clones, and it's honestly just because of the Anakin and Padme scenes. Honestly, if those scenes were not in this movie, obviously it wouldn't really
Mm-hmm.
like. I guess the movie wouldn't really work then, but like it would make the movie so much better because we would just be following Obi-Wan and uncovering a mystery involving a dead Jedi ordering an entire army of clones for the Republic around the time of around the events of the Phantom Menace. It's like that's actually an interesting story that I'd like to see developed, and it is developed in the Clone Wars show. But it's like you know, like this, like everything just gets bogged down because of the Anakin and Padme scenes. Like they cannot act. Like I'm not saying that they're both bad actors. It's just in this movie, like just this one movie, just made me want to stop watching. And here's
Mm-hmm.
the thing: I don't hate any Star Wars movie,
Question.
right? Even Attack of the Clones, I'd still go back and rewatch it. Like
Yeah.
if you ask me to rewatch it, I'll rewatch it. But it's not like it's not like I'm always going to be like, oh, it's just so awesome. Like rewatching the original trilogy again, I had a blast. I had a genuine good time. Watching the Phantom Menace again, even though a lot of people don't like that movie, I genuinely enjoyed it. But it's like this movie, it's like I just want to
Mm-hmm.
stop watching. Like when I got to the Battle of Geonosis, I'm like, oh, thank you, we're finally here.
Yeah.
Yes, he
Yeah.
was in this
Quick
movie.
question: was Jar Jar in this episode? I forget.
Yeah.
Dang it! Even Jar Jar couldn't save this
Well,
movie.
I mean, like even the lightsaber duel in this movie wasn't that
Oh my
great. A lot of
goodness!
people are like, oh wow, guys, Yoda
Oh
finally
my
uses a
god!
lightsaber. Like what? Like obviously when this movie first came out, people were like blown away that Yoda actually used a lightsaber, right? But it's like looking back now, that's
Mm-hmm.
like the Yoda versus Palpatine duel was better. and like that's not a bad thing. I genuinely like that lightsaber duel. It's just that like like the lightsaber duel. Like here's the thing: even if your Star Wars movie sucks, at least have a good lightsaber duel, right? And the lightsaber duel here is just so stale.
Yeah, exactly.
It honestly was. A lot of this, like some of the lightsaber duels in the sequel trilogy are better than this one here. I know a lot of people are going to hate me on that, but like I'm being genuinely serious. Like really. But it's like,
Yeah. On a scale of 1 to 10, I give this a
if you were to
-6.
rank all the Star Wars movies so far, well, how like, yeah, this would be last so far too.
This would be last. This would be
But
last. This would be last.
yeah,
Yeah, this
I
would be
mean,
last. It's not
don't
even a
worry,
competition
like
right now.
because we're gonna be watching Revenge of the Sith next, and that is honestly one of the best Star Wars movies in the entire series. It really is, yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, you were. I'm definitely.
Yes, I've heard.
Well, he is a little bit.
Is Jar Jar Binks in
like
it?
near the end, at least near the end.
Yes.
All right, but yeah, I mean,
Okay, that's still
this is
better
just
than
a
nothing.
movie I can't. Like I said, I'll rewatch it. I don't completely hate this movie to guts. It's not like Josh Whedon's Justice League where I just flat out hate the movie. I never want to see that movie again. I don't care if I don't get any of the comparisons between
Mhm.
Zack Snyder's Justice League and Josh Whedon's Justice League. I don't care. I'm never going to see that movie ever again. I hate that movie so much. It's literally one of the worst movies I've ever watched.
Hey, Marley,
No,
if you
shut
want a
up.
sponsorship from DC, we
No,
need
but
to
it's like
respect both
no, but
movies.
it's like this movie. I'll rewatch it, but it's not like something that like I'll not necessarily like not enjoy, but it's like it's not going to be a movie that like I'm going to be like raving about, right? So it's like, yeah. But I guess moving on
Yeah.
from a bad movie to a movie that gets a lot of undeserved hate, we're going to be actually be starting another series on our podcast here. So we've been currently reviewing and ranking the Star Wars. Well, we haven't really ranked any of the Star Wars movies yet. I think we're going to do that. Yeah, it'll be at the end, but. What we're going to be starting
They'll be
another
at the
miniseries. We're going to be
At the
basically
end.
doing the same thing, except this time we're going to be doing it with the DCEU movies. Now, I think this is going to be a pretty big topic, especially since Snyder Cut just came out
Mhm.
nearly 3 weeks ago. But it's still hot. It's still a pretty big topic. A lot of people
Yeah,
are talking
3
about
weeks.
the Snyder Cut and stuff like that. But did I just say Snyderverse earlier? I meant to say the Snyder Cut.
Mhm.
But yeah, so I guess we'll start off with the
Yeah.
Zack Snyder movie, that being Man of Steel, the movie that starts the DCEU. And just like Iron Man, I don't think this
Yep.
movie was meant to start anything like a cinematic universe. I think it was just supposed to be like a standalone thing. Because we have to remember when Man of Steel came out and when Iron Man came out. Obviously, they didn't come out at the exact same time, but like around that time of comic book movies, we weren't really in cinematic universes. We were just like did like separate movies. Like we had like the Dark Knight movie, we had the Spider-Man movies, like the Amazing Spider-Man movies. Like it wasn't really connected, right? It was just supposed to be like these standalone movies and all that stuff. Obviously, we're not really in that age of CBMs anymore because we kind of evolved from that.
Mhm.
A lot of people like to see more connected universes, and this starts everything. But obviously, as you can tell from this movie, it was never meant to start a cinematic universe. Regardless of that, I still think this movie gets a lot of underserved hate. A lot of people are like, "Oh, this movie's," but it's like it's not bad. Like honestly, like yeah, like this movie honestly is better than like 70% of all.
It's
the
not
DCU
terrible,
movies.
no.
Like honestly,
Yeah, I agree. This movie was really good in a lot of ways. And
yeah.
this Henry Cavill will always be my favorite Superman unless something drastic changes. And I'm hoping this dude stays.
I don't think he was
don't
ever
know.
let go, but
There
I
was a
think it's
rumor
just
that he
he's so
might
busy
go
right
and
now because he's
whatnot, but
doing
I hope he
Witcher,
stays.
and then like I think he's maybe working on some other smaller projects. It's like I don't think he has the time to fly down to the U.S. and start filming DC movies and stuff like that. He's on a tight schedule. He's on a really tight schedule.
Yeah, I think
it just finished wrapping.
I just looked it up.
Yeah,
Witcher just finished filming like a couple days ago.
There's any projects involving Henry Cavill at the moment right now, so I don't know. But yeah, regardless, he is a really good Superman. I do like his character in this one, even though a lot of people like who are a bit long time Superman fans don't really like some aspects of this movie. Like I've heard that Jonathan Kent, like the father in this movie, he is not as supportive as he is in the
Oh yeah.
comics and is literally any other iteration of Pa Kent, but still, it's like I like they kind of fixed that in the Snyder cut, but still,
Yeah.
I didn't mind his character. I feel like it was kind of a stepping stone for Clark and all that stuff. I think honestly, the worst part about this movie is maybe the first act because it kind of just
Yeah.
jumps around from because we're on Krypton, right? The Krypton, the planet explodes. Like, oh, it's they're gone. Which, by the way, it doesn't really make any sense. Like,
Mhm.
honestly, I just thought about this now, and this is like my third time rewatching this movie. I just thought about this now. Why did the Kryptonians send Zod and his like goons into the Phantom Zone when they could have just damned him on the planet? Like they all could have died together. Why did he send them away? Like I get the fact that like for punishment,
Oh wow.
but it's like you literally let him survive. Like no, like they all know that the world's gonna end. They all know the Krypton's gonna end. So why would they give that as a type of punishment? Why don't they just like, okay, so as your punishment, you're gonna die here with all of us? It's like, why can't they do that? Yeah, it's like I never
Actually,
really
after you
understand
hearing you
that.
say that, that makes a lot
But
of
I don't
sense.
know. Maybe I've never really been a Superman fan, but honestly, these past couple of years have been kind of turning me to Superman. The Superman Lois show, the Snyder cut really has kind of,
Mhm. Yeah.
kind of brought me more into the Superman. Because I've always been more of a Batman fan, but a lot of the Batman related content lately hasn't been like great. Like Titans
Same.
has like definitely turned me off from
And it
Batman for
hasn't been
sure.
great.
And it, shut up.
What? Just because he sends
I
emojis
don't
doesn't
want
mean
to
nothing,
talk
okay?
about that show anymore. I really don't. I just want to let's just focus on Superman, okay? Man of Steel, good movie. Like I said, the first act, like after the Krypton scenes. Okay, you had enough. You good there? Okay, so
Yeah.
after the Kryptonian scenes,
Yes, I'm good. I'm good.
um,
I'm good.
like it starts bouncing around Clark's life. Like the movie kind of expects us to know Clark's story, which
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's good because I really don't want to see Clark Kent's story all over again. It honestly, excuse me, having a hard time here. It's honestly like with Batman or Spider-Man, I really don't need to see Martha or
Mhm.
I really don't need to see Thomas and Martha Wayne get murdered for the 50 millionth time. I mean, it worked in the Joker, but I really don't need to see it again in another Batman movie, right? I've seen it so many times. Same thing with Spider-Man. I really don't need to see Uncle Ben getting murdered like
Yeah.
for the 50 millionth time. We kind of already know what happened. So, I mean, that's good that they kind of like, it's like, okay, you
Yeah.
obviously seen those movies, so we're kind of going to
Mhm.
skip that. But at the same time, some of the scene, well, not just the younger fans,
Like
it
for the
just
younger
bounces
fans,
around
maybe
Clark's life, and I
that don't
guess
know as
it
much.
focuses on like the aspects where he feels alone in the world because
Mhm.
he's an alien. And some of those scenes are really good. Like I think always think back to the bus scene. Like when I think of Man of Steel, I honestly think back to that one bus scene where Clark saves, after the bus lost
Mhm.
control. Yeah, he saves his class and all that stuff. It's like that
The
is
class.
a very outstanding scene. It's like kind of the seeds of a hero, and I really like that. But yeah, the first act kind of
Mhm.
bounces around. Not a huge fan of it. I guess he's kind of like not really homeless, but like he's like moving around from town to town, all that stuff. But like once after the first act, the second and third
Yeah.
acts, that's when the movie gets really good.
Yeah, I totally agree. The fight scenes in this movie, I think, are super underrated. Like, obviously, when people talk about fight scenes, they talk about the Avengers, like Hulk punching this mega monster thing and go up in the air. Like,
Yeah, and
this
some of the
fight scene when he
cinema.
faces
Sorry,
Zod
go on.
is pretty good. Even though he destroy, I was just saying,
Yeah, it's like I
they
know a lot of
punch
people
each other
complain
and they
about that because of
destroy
like too
half
much
the
destruction,
buildings.
and yeah, it's like Michael Bay levels of destruction. But at the same time, like you think about it, imagine Superman's very first like fight against another Kryptonian who's more experienced than him. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of destruction, even when because like even during that battle, Superman
Yeah,
was still trying to hone his powers, right? So it's like, yeah, obviously there's going to be a lot of collateral
yeah,
damage.
exactly.
Now, would it be that much collateral damage? I don't know, but it's like there's going to be a lot. There's going to be a lot of
Hmm. Hmm.
people caught in the crossfire, right? And I honestly do think that Zod was a very scary villain in this. I never
Yeah,
realized that. Yeah, like especially like I just think about that one scene
He
where he
was
sends that satellite
terrifying.
out to all the human, like to everyone on Earth. Like that honestly was kind of freaky. Like I honestly thought like because I was watching on my
Hmm.
laptop, I honestly thought my laptop was gonna like blow up because of
Hmm.
like that. Well, he was so creepy, right? And like I just like how
Hmm.
he's so calm at times. Like, at the same time, he's
Hmm.
also very menacing and he's very hot headed. It's weird. He's like whenever he's like threatening anyone, he's so calm. Like he's like, I will destroy your world. But like you just know that you push him too far, he's really gonna break, and he's really
Yeah.
gonna break stuff, right? So it's like, yeah, I was definitely impressed by Zod's character. I
Yeah.
never really realized how good of a villain he was until now, and yeah, I mean, I again, I was about to say the cinematography in this movie is just out of this world. I think Zack Snyder is a great visual director, and not the greatest in terms of like
Yeah.
narratives, but I think he's great visually. Now, in terms of like narratives, I honestly do think that Zack Snyder is really good at his DC work. Now, to be fair, I've only seen a few of his work, Zack
Yeah.
Snyder's work outside of DC, but I honestly do think that like the writing in his DC movies are like consistent. They're actually good, especially Snyder Cut. You know, I guess we'll since we're on this
Hmm.
series of reviewing the DCEU, I guess we will re-review Snyder Cut again and kind of just reiterate our thoughts as well because we did make that review.
Hmm.
Was it last
Yeah.
last episode? Yeah, last episode exactly. Yeah, exactly. But
Last.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah. Last
uh,
episode.
so yeah, so Man of Steel is
Hmm.
good. It's a good movie. It gets a lot of undeserved hate. I honestly do think that it is one of the best DCU movies. Not like the best. It's not like Wonder Woman
Yeah. I
levels of good
agree.
or Shazam levels of good because I do think those movies are better. Even Snyder Cut's better than this movie, but still, it is a pretty good movie. I love the soundtrack. I think Hans Zimmer did a great job with this.
Yeah.
So this is just another classic piece to Hans Zimmer's just illustrious career as a composer, and all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. The music in here, the music was perfect. I think like looking back, this was a good
Hmm.
start to a universe. I think this movie was a pretty good start to it. Like, yeah, it gets undeserved hate. I I totally agree with you, but like
Iron Man's still the
if
better
you
movie. Like,
compare
let's
this to
not
Iron Man,
like beat around the bush.
it's yeah. Yeah, I'm not no, I agree with you on that point. The Iron Man was way like not okay, not way better, but a better movie.
Yeah, exactly.
But this is Man of Steel was still good. Like it
Hmm.
wasn't terrible. Like if
But
that
this
makes sense.
is
Like
a
Iron Man was
genuine good
obviously
movie.
better.
Like, it
It
really is. I
started
think
this
the
whole
only reason
thing.
why people didn't like it is because, again, like I said, the first
Yeah,
act
it
was kind
is.
of weird. It just bounces around places. Some of the writing doesn't make any sense. But like once you get into the meat of this movie, it gets really good. And like some of the like the you kind of have to read in between the lines
Hmm.
to kind of understand really what's going on. Like when Clark snaps Zod's neck at the end of the movie, like at the final battle, it's like he just realizes that now he's truly all alone
Hmm.
in the world
Hmm.
because now he's the only Kryptonian left. Well, at least he thought of, because I think we're going to be getting Supergirl in the DCEU. But like, yeah, at that time he really is all alone in the world. He's the only Kryptonian left. He
Hmm.
just killed really one of the last people of his race, and we kind of see that all pay off from all those flashback
Yeah.
scenes because he feels so alone. He feels like an outsider. He just wants to go back. He doesn't just want to be. He either doesn't want to be this weird kid, or he just wants to go back to wherever he came from, right? But now we see that kind of pay off, and he realizes that, yeah, these Kryptonians,
Yeah.
like my father, like my actual biological father, he wanted me to be better. He wanted me to be better than who he was and who the rest of Krypton was, right? So it's like you kind of learn. You have to kind of do a little bit
Yeah,
of thinking to
exactly.
kind of understand the beauty in the writing here. And again, I know not all people do that. I know people are like, oh, you're just looking too hard on the movie. You have to remember, this is art. Movie is a form of art. Like, a film is a form of art. And it's
Hmm.
not like, not everything you have to take at face value. You kind of have to like read in
Yeah.
between the lines and kind of do a bit of analytical, critical thinking, right? You have to kind of ponder on that a bit, and maybe you'll kind of see like the real,
Yeah,
like the true
exactly.
beauty behind it. I mean, yeah, the visuals are great. I love the cinematography, but the real beauty is behind the writing of each character, right? Like what does Krypton mean to Superman, and what does it mean to the legacy of that planet, right? Is it something worth fighting for, or can you make it better, right? And by literally
Hmm.
killing the last of your kind. So it's like, to preserve another race, right? So it's like, that's a really interesting, you kind of do a bit of thinking. It's like, yeah, Man of Steel
Yeah.
definitely is like like honestly, guys, it is a genuinely good movie. Like I still like in my room right now. I have like
Yeah.
this like Man of Steel cup, and it's like because I watched it. I remember watching it in theaters, and
Hmm.
it's like, yeah, I was blown away by it. Not as much as I am now because of how good, like, just because obviously now I'm older, I kind of understand things more. Kind of been
Yeah.
not necessarily studying, but kind of doing a bit more thinking and kind of breaking things down a bit. It's like, yeah, I kind of realized the beauty behind Man of Steel, and I really like it. Right, like this cup here, like this Man of Steel cup, I kind of hold it as like a kind of cherished
Yeah.
kind of token of that movie, right? Like I would go back. Like if you asked me to watch Man of Steel, like rewatch it, I would do it in an instant.
Yeah.
I would have no problems rewatching that movie. Yeah, but
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. I
I
wouldn't
mean,
either, to be completely
yeah,
honest.
I do also agree that I guess it is a good start to the universe. It's just that obviously when you have the very first installment in a bigger picture, it's like it doesn't always seem like it doesn't always seem like it is going to set up anything. But you know, I mean, on that note, since we're talking about
Yeah.
bigger pictures and universes, I guess we can move on to our long-awaited spoiler discussion. Obviously, it's been like 2 weeks since we recorded our last podcast. Oh yes, we
Do you
can
want
do
to
that real
talk
quick.
Falcon? Do you want to talk about
So
Falcon and the Winter
we
Soldier just
haven't.
quickly?
We were planning on talking to Winter Soldier, like the pilot episode when it first aired, but there wasn't really a whole lot to it, like to the very first episode. Although it was pretty big
Yeah, there
because
wasn't
Sam
really a
gives
lot
up
to
the
talk
shield and
about
stuff
to
like that, and then
talk
we
at the
get
first
the
episode. It was
new
just
Captain America and all that stuff. But yeah, I
yeah.
like after the second and third episodes are really good. Like the second episode was basically Sam and Bucky, they reunite, or yeah, I guess they reunite, but we also kind of learn how they feel about one another and kind of see their like kind of partnership build in a way. Yeah, and then the third episode is sorry, I was about to say
Yeah.
the third episode is actually seeing them in action.
Super.
And then we get Zemo back too, which is I feel like he's going to play a pretty big role later this season, which
Mhm.
I can't wait to see what because like honestly Zemo, I both like and hate his character. I like his character because of how kind of manipulative he was and like kind of his backstory, but at the
Mhm.
same time, I really don't like how they used him in Civil War and be like, oh yeah, I was the one who was behind the Avengers fighting each other and stuff like that. It's like, no, there was a lot more to it. There's the Sokovia Accords, which are now kind of rendered useless, but yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I like what they're doing kind of with Bucky this season because he's trying to like forgive. He's like going
Yeah, as the
around to a
Winter
bunch of
Soldier.
people and like apologizing for what he did back in the day and whatnot. Yeah, and there's actually I think technically he can apologize to one more person, and that's Tony Stark
Yeah.
because he died and before killing his parents, and he will always have
Hmm.
to hold that against himself. I'm like, I kind of like that. I just like how he's going around
Yeah.
apologizing, and now he's just
But
hitting
yeah,
people with his
I really do
metal
like
arm and
this. I
stuff.
really do like where the show's heading.
So I think, yeah, I don't know. So far, it's yeah. We'll just have to
Yeah,
see,
I
like
just
at
don't
the
think there's a
end
lot
when
to
all
talk
this
about right
wraps up.
now. That's
But
why we're kind of bunching up the
like,
first three episodes into one discussion. It's just that, like, yeah, we still need to see more. But yeah, obviously there is a lot more to unpack. But
yeah,
this podcast is already really long. We have a lot to cover here. But yeah, I just want to say that this is
hmm,
I mean, the show so far is actually pretty good. I do like the first couple episodes more than the first couple episodes of WandaVision, but
yeah.
yeah, but we have to see where this show is
One
headed.
division, yeah, which is fair.
Yeah. I guess now moving on to
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, the long-awaited spoiler discussion for Snyder Cut. We were mainly going to talk about what it's set up,
Hmm.
like what this movie was supposed to set up,
Yeah.
which is honestly kind of disappointing. I think we mentioned this before. Um,
Hmm.
I think I mentioned it before, and also my spoiler discussion on the Instagram
Hmm.
account. But after watching this movie, it's like it was supposed to do the reverse
Yeah.
of the MCU, where because like you had like I know like this is really weird that we're
Yeah.
just gonna get into it right now, but like going to like all the way near the end of the movie, I mean this is weird that we're talking about the end of the movie right now, but um with like
Hmm.
Deathstroke, finally learning Batman's identity, yeah, and all that stuff, and like Martian Manhunter
Lex
showing up, he's
Luthor.
like, yeah, we'll be in touch and stuff like that. It's like, like yeah, it's like
Hmm.
I think, yeah,
They
it's
set
supposed
up
to be the
so much
reverse of
stuff.
the MCU where the DCEU has like this big event, which is the Justice League. All the heroes come together, and they stop the bad guy for now, at least, and they break apart. And then we have these smaller,
Hmm.
solo movies like the Aquaman movie, which we did get an Aquaman movie, but I don't think this is what Zack Snyder
Movies.
had in mind. I think it was supposed to be different with him. Like, I mean, I think the premise is supposed to be the same as the
Yeah.
Aquaman movie we have right now, but I think there's supposed to be a lot of more different things. I'm pretty sure it was supposed to be a lot more darker than what we got. But yeah, we're supposed to get an Aquaman movie. Obviously, we're supposed to get a Flash movie, which we are
Yeah.
getting. But again, pretty sure that's not going to be the same movie that Zack Snyder had in mind. We're supposed to get a
Yeah.
solo Batman movie, right, with Ben Affleck, and 1v
Yeah.
one against Deathstroke, which would have been
Yeah.
pretty cool. I know that sounds so sick. Yeah, but yeah, I feel like
Oh, it
what was
sounds
supposed to
so
happen is
sick.
it breaks
Would have
apart,
been so cool.
have all these separate movies, and then eventually will lead into Darkseid returning to Earth, and then that's when we'll have another Justice League movie come together and then stop the bad guy finally, or hopefully,
Hmm.
instead of having those nightmares come to pass.
Yeah. Yeah, this whole movie was very good because it
Yeah.
gave like all the characters their own screen time. Like it gave Cyborg just a couple minutes. It gave Flash a couple minutes. It gave Wonder Woman minutes. It gave all the minutes to
Yeah,
like
and
actually
I
make us
think I don't
care
know if we
about the
mentioned this in
character
our
in this
non-spoiler
time
free
span of this
review,
movie.
or yeah, sorry, that didn't make any sense. That in our spoiler free review, I don't know if I mentioned this, but this movie kind of has to be 4 hours
Hmm.
long. It cannot work with like 2.5 hours. It really can't, because you can't have a solo Flash movie, a solo Aquaman
Yes.
movie, and then have this lead up to this Justice League movie. You can't do that because it's like each character is the whole point of each character in this movie is to come together, and especially Cyborg's character too, where he's literally tied to the mother boxes. It's like, you can't just have a solo movie about that. That'll be a really short
Yeah.
movie. Like, then you have to just have a lot of screen time just to do whatever, which is not going to be good. So it's like, yeah, this movie needs to be 4 hours long. It really does,
Hmm.
because each character, the whole point of each character is that they need to find each other. They need to overcome their
Yeah.
hardships in order to help save the world, right? In order to form their own unity, right, against Steppenwolf and Darkseid, right? And
Yeah.
even Steppenwolf gets is a really good character too. Isn't just like, oh, I'm a big bad, I'm like the Thanos of the DCEU. Oh, I want to come in and
Yeah.
destroy the world. Like, no, he like there's a reason why he's so fanatical, because he wants to serve Darkseid, right? He's a servant, not a master. And I think
Yeah.
that alone just makes his character so much more better.
Yeah.
And he actually does stuff too. He finds anti-life, which that would have been pretty cool to see where that was headed. He
Yeah.
finds the anti-life equation on Earth. Informs Darkseid. Darkseid's like, like Steppenwolf failed, but don't worry, we'll use the old ways. We'll, like, we'll find my great prize, and I'll gain anti-life equation, stuff like that. Like, I think that's like all really cool. And then obviously that one Joker scene is just, it just blew my mind. Like, that monologue, just that
Oh.
monologue alone makes
Yeah.
this Joker character so much better, even though it's only 5 minutes. Like, maybe even less.
Hmm.
That alone just makes his character so much better
Yeah.
than the Joker that we got in Suicide Squad. Instantly, I did not find any redeeming qualities in the
Yeah.
Joker in Suicide Squad. Joker here is just amazing. I love how Jared Leto just executed that monologue, and how he goes from like being all like goofy and stuff like that to being all like more serious and talking about things like, oh, you sent a boy wonder to do a man's job. He like I just love those types of transitions,
Yeah.
and this again, the cinematography behind it too is just amazing. Like
Yeah.
Zack Snyder, like I said, great visual director. He knows how to just wow his audience with the visuals alone. Like he could be telling a really terrible story, but then the visual just would just blow you
Hmm.
away to forget. Like, oh wow, I mean, like there's a plot behind this. It's like that doesn't excuse the fact that it's gonna be a good movie. Like because like I know there's a lot of movies from Zack Snyder that aren't that great because the story wasn't the best. But his visuals are just out of this world. Like 300, like the visuals there are just like insane, right?
Hmm. Yeah. Like like you said with the Joker scene, like this made this Joker so much more likable. Like it was just like you said, the monologue, like him saying you sent a boy wonder to do a man's job, which I think was super, super cool. So obviously I'm curious to like I'm
Yeah,
just
like maybe
sad that
we
we
could
don't get
maybe
to
like
see what
in the
could have
Flashpoint movie,
happened.
maybe we can get like what's the
Like,
restores the timeline. Maybe we get this type of Joker instead of the damaged Joker. With the damaged tattoo and stuff like that. Like the more like the literally goofy Joker. I hope we get this type of Joker because like this is really
yeah.
like if we got more of this Joker, I would be more than happy to see him reappear in the DCEU. Honestly, yeah,
Yeah, I totally agree. Like
exactly.
it's just super
Yeah,
sad that we don't get to see what could have happened, like with the Batman movie, like with that whole thing. But I
restore the
guess you never know. A
Snyderverse.
bunch
Yeah.
of DC
Which
fans,
like
I think, have been
I support the
spamming
movement, but at the
Warner
same time,
Brothers.
I also don't support it
Yeah, the
because of
restore the
how bad
Snyderverse.
it's been. Like it's gone to the point where it's exactly like the release of Snyder Cut movement, where they would post it like as recently they're like I don't know if we already talked about this, but HBO Max or not HBO Max, but yeah, like Warner Brothers related accounts on like Instagram and social media, they've been posting I guess because like in the light of recent
Hmm.
events with anti-Asian hate crimes, they've been posting like messages supporting like they like posts supporting Asians in these times, right? And then the comments are literally yeah, and then the comments are literally just restore the Snyderverse. And it's like so disrespectful. Like
Yeah, of course.
it honestly makes Warner Brothers not do it because like they don't like
Yeah,
what in times of like in serious times like this, the fans just like to just you know don't take them seriously, right? Which is kind of it's just it's kind of doing the opposite of what we want.
yeah,
It just makes it just lets Warner Brothers know that hey, we really don't care about anything else other than this,
yeah,
but we'll literally do anything. We'll literally harass people to do to do that too. It's so saddening. Like yeah, look, we yeah, obviously go on
yeah.
with the spamming with the hashtag spam, but at the same
It is
time,
very
don't do it and
saddening.
stuff like that. Like that is just ridiculous.
Yeah. Like just if you just do it on
Yeah,
rant,
but
if they post
also
like
at the same
something
time,
about
a lot of
like
people, yeah,
I
a
don't
lot
know
of
some
people
news
were
coming
also
out, do it
review
then.
bombing
Don't do it on
Godzilla
like
versus
Asian
Kong
hate crime.
and just putting restore the Snyderverse as the review, like 1 star, and then the comment is just literally restore the Snyderverse.
Yeah,
It's like you're just pissing off Warner Brothers. You're not actually gonna get what you're not gonna get. We're not gonna get what we want. You're just gonna make
yeah,
them even more mad. And you're gonna, if anything, yeah, like I said, they're not gonna restore it at all. There's not gonna be any more chance of it doing it right. So it's like, yeah, but
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't think there was any chance of it getting restored as it is. There was
I
rumors
would
that Ben
love for
Affleck
that to
enjoyed the
happen. Yeah.
Snyder
Well,
cut
no,
so
I
much
think
he
he is
said
going
he'd
to be in the Flash movie
return
regardless.
as
But
Batman in
like in
the
later
Flash
DC
movie.
projects, I would love for Ben Affleck to come back. He was so done
Yeah,
wrong in the 2017 Justice League
yeah,
movie. I want to see more of him. I really do. I
yes,
liked his character in Batman v
I
Superman,
agree.
and I want to see more of him. I want to see what happened to his Robin.
Hmm.
I want to see how
Hmm.
what story he takes. Because he's an older
I
Batman. We never really seen this in live
yeah,
action, but he's an older Batman. He's gone through a lot. I want to see
yeah.
what he's gone through and how that applies to him in the current day, right? So it's like I
Hmm.
want to see all of that, right? But yeah, yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, but at the same time, we probably won't get that anymore. Like obviously with the new Batman movie supposedly coming out in 2022 by Mr. Vampire himself. Um, I'm sorry, that's what all to
Well,
people
he
who are a
grew from
fan of
that.
his.
He
If you're
grew from
watching,
that.
he will
Honestly,
always be
it's
known
been
as
so
the
long. It's
vampire
been
dude
so
from
long
Twilight.
since Pattinson was in the Twilight movies.
True.
He's obviously grown from that, and now we're hopefully gonna recognize him as the Batman because like hopefully that movie's really good. I just like so far it looks really good, but like yeah,
He
yeah.
better hope it's a good movie, or it's
You
gonna be
cannot mess up
downhill.
Batman.
Because Batman
If you mess up
is
Batman, it's gonna be
one
like
of the
Batman
most
and Robin, where
popular
like the actors and the producers
superheroes.
literally have to apologize
What?
to the entire like media.
Yeah,
Like it was that bad. Yeah, so it's like this has to be good, but yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, it has to be good. But on the other hand, when it comes to the Snyder Cut, it was a phenomenal movie. I think,
You mean MCU?
like you said, it did pretty much the opposite of DC, where it went into one of the bigger movies. Yeah, MCU.
Smaller
Sorry,
movies.
it went from like
Yeah,
it
smaller
just started with
movies,
the
and then
biggest
have them
movie, and then it
build,
set
and then
up
eventually come back
kind
together
of all
with
the rest of the
another
movies.
Justice League movie.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
With Dark Side. So yeah, so I think the Snyder Cut
anyways.
is the biggest thing since Endgame, probably DCU wise. Like, I maybe one day
Yeah.
I doubt we'll get the Snyder version of Batman or whatever, but I just hope the DCU improves
Yeah.
like a lot because I don't know, it's just been kind of rough. Because the second Wonder Woman, I really enjoyed that movie, but I understand why people hated it. And it's just they just need to improve movie wise. Like TV wise, it's not even a competition between
Well, I
Marvel
mean,
and
Marvel's
DC.
kind of
DC
getting there
has
with
that
like
taken,
WandaVision
even
and
when it comes
Falcon
to
Winter
animated
Soldier,
shows
but
as well.
yeah, I got what you mean.
Like it's
Yeah.
not even a competition.
Yeah, DC for a longer time has been because they have a lot more shows, and
Yeah,
well, like in terms of
yeah,
live action, yeah,
but
live action definitely.
yeah, yeah. That's what I was just kind of saying. Like it's right now. I
Yeah,
still think DC runs
exactly.
the TV shows, and then Marvel runs away with it when it comes to movies. Like yeah, but yeah, we'll just
Yeah.
have to see. I hope the DCU just improves. That's all I
Yeah.
want.
Well,
I
on
want
that note,
both
we've been
industries
hoping
to
a
do well.
lot,
I
and
want
we've
Marvel and
been like
DC to both do well.
discussing a
So
lot of what we hope for the future of, I guess, DC in general, whether it be their movies or shows. But yeah, I don't want to end on that kind of somber note. But yeah, I guess
hmm
that's it for the podcast. This is a really long podcast. Um, yeah, very
hmm
long, and I guess kind of expect more like this because
yeah,
we're
it's
going to
going to
be,
be
yes,
very
like I
long.
said, we're going to be starting our DCEU movie ranking series, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, well, that's going to be alongside Star Wars, and once we're done a Star Wars one, we will
Yeah,
kind of announce another one too, just because we want to keep things fresh, right? So, yeah. On that note, yeah, thanks for listening in, and
yeah,
make sure you go check out our Instagram account
yeah,
at Galactic
exactly.
Oversub. Like I said, link will be in the description down below, and we will see you next time.